feeling better than I ever been. Cairo in his bag, this beat is heaven sent. Back up in my element, new whip, trunk up in the front, I whip an elephant. It's all limo tent, that's how you move when you the president. U.S. and Offstream, treat them like my last name. Disrespecting, you just signed a check for a long day. Appetizer rappers, you will never be an entree. Really, you a condiment, and I hope y'all follow this. Crazy how people with the most money lack the common sense. Batman over Gotham, how I'm over shit. Running this game, now they finally noticing. Hear us on TV like, damn, yup, I know that's them. Just had to pay the dues. Now I feel like we could never lose, but it's us against the world. Now we finally got the tools. Watch a few years later, turn a puddle to a pool. We just gotta keep it hot to keep the family living cool. All we do is win like a size dad. I just bought my mom a Louis V bag. I just took lil' bro to BB Simons. Finna put my fam on the island, that's off one check. But I can't get reckless, the next ones I'm investing. Tasted broke once, I don't want no seconds. Living in the moment but still planning for the future. I'm just blessed to live my dreams, modern day Martin Luther.
We are live, man. What's good, everybody, man? Welcome into the Coach's Lounge, episode 2. Myself, my guy, Coach Fred. Coach, how we feeling?
Man, good. Can't complain. Ready to jump this one off, man. I think we're gonna have a good time with this one. It's gonna be hard to top last week with Mr. Sims Sr. So just interested to see, man. Had a great week up to this point, man. Hope you have as well.
Yeah.
Just ready to dive into it, bro.
Absolutely, man. Before we introduce our special guest, man, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Tropical Distillers. The Coach's Lounge is sponsored by Tropical Distillers. Tropical Distillers is co-owned by former NFL champions Mike and Marquise Pouncey. Since their retirement from the game, they have turned their attention toward making the best craft spirits in the game. Miami's own distillery, Tropical Distillers. Go to their website now. Check out their selection, book a tour and tasting today at tropicaldistillery.com. You can follow them on social media, Twitter or X at 305 Distillery and Instagram at Tropical Distillery. Let's get back to the show, guys. And we got one more today, man. Coach Fred wanted to launch a special initiative for this episode, man. Coach, I'm going to let you explain it right after the video, man.
Hello, everyone. You are the president, a.k.a. Coach Fred, here with the initiative, Just a Kid from the A63. Hey, let's let you know that you can overcome your circumstances no matter what it is. If you stay positive and keep working, it'll all work out in the end. Again, Just a Kid from the A63, assistant head coach of Ohio State University.
Coach, man, before we get our special guest up here, let people know, man, what is this initiative you wanted to launch, man, and why is it important to you?
The initiative is Just a Kid From. So the initiative itself is where we are trying to inspire, motivate, keep motivated the not just youth, but young adults as well. So the goal is to get guys, get girls, everybody moving in the right direction, regardless of where you're from. From the 863, there's people that have been inside that area code all their lives because they felt like they couldn't get outside of that area code. Maybe they didn't have a Coach Fred, but now they have a Coach Fred. So it's important to me to just show everybody other walks of life. Home is going to be home. But there's a whole nother place out there called the world for us to be able to explore and then come back and bring things back home. So it's very important to me to keep the motivational piece going. Not, like I said, not just for the youth, but young adults as well. Yeah, I am a young adult, but just want to continue to inspire, man, and move this thing forward. And you can go to the website, Common Man Podcast. And it'll tell you more about it. But, that's the main thing, man. I want to motivate more blues in the world, jump out here and get it rolling.
Man, well, we got a perfect guest, man, for this show. Coach, when you came to me with this idea, You named me. You named about 3 people, man. We had one on last week with my guy Josh, and the guy we about to have on was another one. You said, man, he's a no-brainer. He was like, bro, I'm not launching the show unless I get this guy on this show. That's what you told me. We got my guy, man. Listen, this guy's become one of my best friends in this space, man. He's really helped me grow this platform and build a lot what I'm doing in my career, man. My guy, Abreon Scott. You guys know him as Scotty, man. Host and CEO of the OFFSCRIPT Network, man. Scotty, man, how you feeling?
Yeah. Listen,
Scotty! Scotty!
Run it. Oh man, I feel good. Listen, Blue, the intro song. I said he took one from your boy. I like this. That's a banger. That's a banger. I like that. But man, I'll be good, man. You know, chilling. I appreciate the invite. You know, you hit me up, coach hit me up and said, man, you know, what's your schedule looking like? I said, man, for y'all, man, I'll move it. You know what I'm saying? It's too easy. And now we here. So I definitely watched the Josh jank. The Josh jank was lit. So my life is not as eventful as Josh. Josh doesn't work for everybody in the world. You know, I work for Adidas and the international company, and I also time, you know, in London. I'm like, oh wow, okay. How do I do that?
Hey, he had me thinking like maybe I brought the wrong guy home.
I'm like, how old are you again? Like, I'm like, what did you do? You know what I'm saying? So
maybe I brought the wrong guy onto the lounge. You know what I mean? Right.
We're gonna start getting people to submit their resumes for the show because, like, man, he started bringing up stuff I had no idea. I thought I did my research. He started bringing up stuff, and I was like, okay, didn't have that on the docket. We gotta add this to the show, man. Me and Coach for like an hour, probably. 2 hours later, I'm like, man, we still haven't talked about London. He probably has another trip he didn't bring up. And shout out to my guy, Josh. But Coach, man, I'm going to throw it to you, man. Let you kick this off.
All right, Scotty, man, you watched last week, bro. It's the lounge. It's as relaxed as it gets. But, you know, we vibing, we talking. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to crack open for this one right here. You know, I think I may go the nub short talk. But with you, I think I got to go to Hypnotic, man. Go to Hypnotic and our sponsors. So I'm gonna pop this open and rock with it. So I need you to get in your groove. All right. I'm not talking to Abreon. I'm talking to Scotty. And let's do this thing now. Ain't no sugarcoating. We kicking it.
Let's kick it. You know, listen. You know, I'm as real as they come. So what we talking about?
Well, let's go, Abreon. I mean, being from the DMV. Now is that home?
With me. You gotta finish it off. You're good with me, okay?
From the DMV. It's funny though, because I had college roommates, teammates that were from there. Shout out Sean Winfrey, Shannon Mason. Those guys brought the go-go to the team. Every now and then, I still, you know, Rare Essence. I'll rock Rare Essence every now and then. So. You know, born and raised in the DMV, man. I've never been there other than talking to them. And they were from the suburbs, but they talk like they were part of the wire. But, you know, for the people that don't know, man, kind of describe your upbringing coming in from the DMV.
Well, you're half right. So I wasn't born in Maryland. I was born in Germany. I was born in Frankfurt, Germany.
Here we go, Blue. Here we go.
Oh, I knew that one. I should have gave you a heads up. I knew that one. But.
I said, here we go.
Yeah. So my parents were military. So I was born in Germany overseas. I moved to Maryland when I was about 6, and I have been there ever since. So, you know, Maryland's home for me. But growing up in Maryland, man, it's I won't say it's different because you know, everybody has their hoods. And I grew up in the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Moco, you know, Montgomery County, you know what it is, 301, you know what I'm saying, 240. But the one thing I loved about my upbringing in Maryland was just the way that we are when it comes to words and witty and joning. Like that's just, it just was like a rite of passage. So it kind of, you know, what you see now is just stuff I did when I was a kid growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like in Maryland, if you pull my card, I'm trying to pull the big joker. We ain't even trying to go no further. You know what I'm saying? Like you pull my card. Shoot,
you're not playing the ace. You're going straight to the big joke.
I'm going straight to the big joke. I'm not playing no games with you, and you better have a comeback for it, right? So it's like, and if you told me something in confidence, I'm now definitely about to bring it up, okay?
Oh,
so like, you know what I'm saying? If your mama got 1 foot, nobody else know, now everybody know, okay? Now everybody about to know your mama got 1 foot.
Note to self.
You know what I'm saying? But, if we cool and we kick it, we having fun, just joning and stuff like that. Very, basketball. I played a lot of basketball growing up in
right.
It's a basketball state. Basketball was my first love. I didn't pick up football probably until about 10, 11 years old. And then I rolled with it. But nah, man, I love Maryland. I wouldn't live there because it's expensive as crap. But, just for my home and where I was raised at, I loved the diversity, I mean, when I went to high school, man, I had people from Africa, Eritreans, Egyptians.
Who?
Eritrean is right by Ethiopia. Eritreans.
Okay.
Yeah, dog. And
okay.
you know an Eritrean. Anybody from the DMV know they got big heads and little bodies. Like it's just, I'm talking about lollipop heads. You know it, but the women so beautiful. Oh my God, you talk about some beautiful women.
Hey, I don't know them per se, but being that you brought it up, not to cut you off, but being over in Canada, growing up, Florida, you hear Ethiopians. You remember the infomercials, give 35 cents a day. You remember those? And when you go over there and you meet an Ethiopian woman and you're just like, wait a minute, this is not the image they gave us growing up. So I don't know any Eritreans, but from what you're talking, if it's the same makeup, the dudes are the dudes, but the women, you're like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
this is Ethiopian.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Long hair, don't care, just absolutely gorgeous.
Light skin, dark skin, don't matter. Which is crazy to me.
All flavors. What you need?
Be sitting there looking like what?
Yeah.
So yeah. We'll explain this later.
Listen, listen. I'm the only one not married, so like I'm in tune with the conversation.
Oh, this is G-rated, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So if you look at the horn of Ethiopia, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's at like the back of Ethiopia and at the bottom of the horn, something like that. I mean, not the front, but the back hook of Africa. So yeah, man. So just grew up around a lot of diversity and was just blessed to be around just different cultures and just kind of soak it all in and get a flavor for it. Because the one thing about DC, if anybody doesn't know, DC is called the Chocolate City, but it is very, very, very diverse culture wise. I mean, Jamaicans, Hispanics, you name it, we got it. So no different than kind of like New York City.
So John F. Kennedy, that was the only high school that you attended coming up through there? So
I actually I left for Texas my sophomore year. My sophomore year in high school. First of all, my high school in Maryland was ass in football. I told you very good. Like when you're in the Washington Post for the most consecutive losses in the metropolitan area,
that's crazy.
Like, let me be very clear. We were in the Washington Post, the worst football program in the metropolitan area. So I got up out of there, right? Got up out of there, went to Texas, Paris, Texas. Spent a year there. Actually played linebacker for the JV, and then I moved up to varsity and played linebacker. And then I came back to Maryland my junior year, and then played wide receiver my junior and senior years.
So what kind of student, what kind of and we're not saying student athlete, what kind of student was Abreon? What I mean, because I got a guess right now, but I'm gonna say that this wasn't you growing up. So I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. So just give me who you were entering in high school in ninth grade.
I was okay. So I always been a loner. That's always been my thing. Like I've always just, cause I'm an only child, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm used to being by myself. So I've always been a loner. I've had a couple friends, but I've always felt comfortable. Listen, I'm gonna be real. I thought it was gay to hang out with a bunch of guys. I'm just telling you straight up. I thought it was gay. And that's just from a young age, right? I always hung out with women. Cause I'm looking like, why not hang out with the girls? You know what I'm saying? You get in good with the girls, you get the was like, I just have never been the guy who be hanging around like 8-10 guys in the house. And I'm just like, yo, this is gay. Like, this is much of sausage fest. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to a girl's home, kicking it, whoop de whoop. That's always been me. So, but as a student, man, I was average. Woof, boy. Listen, I ain't believe in doing homework. I was always the class clown. That's always been me. You know.
Okay, that's where I'm trying to go with this. Okay.
Yeah, I always been the class clown. That's been my calling. My mom used to go to school with me. Like. Listen, my mom used to live in the school with me. Okay, you now understand. My junior year, when I came back to when I came back to Maryland, I got in trouble with my teacher. She was a white lady. She was new to the school. You know what I'm saying? Her first teaching job, and she's like, Abreon, can you move to the front? I said, because I'm black. I said, you want me to?
So what movie had you watched before you did that? Because that's classic there.
That's just me. That's always been that kind of guy, right? So she's like, no. She got platinum blonde hair. She's like, no. I'm like, nah, it's because I'm black, right? Nah, you trying to make me move to the front because I'm black. So she kicks me out the class. I go to the office. They call my mom. The next day, my mom comes to school with me. And everybody knows my mom because they didn't see my mom with me since middle school, right? So all my friends know my mom. Hi, Miss Scott. How you doing, Miss Scott? Right? So, you got 2 bells, So first bell ring. My mom like, let's go. I'm like, hey, I was like, Mom. I'm like, Mom, the second bell ain't even rang. Let's go. Right? So she's sitting in the class. So you remember the movie Glory Road? When the mom is like, my son know the answer. Like, that was my mom.
She's sitting behind you.
Yeah. She said, my mom was like, so the lady was like, so this is history class. She was like, who can tell me something about Thomas Jefferson? My mom be like, my son can because he black. So that's
She took it and ran with it.
My mom I've always been that kid though. So I've always been like, I wasn't like a bad kid. I just took stuff too far because I just wanted to be funny. I always wanted to laugh and joke and stuff like that. So I always that kid. I was just, CB kid.
Well, before I pass it over to B, with that, when you brought your mom into it, which is, where I was going to go with that. Now she's military as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So as you're coming up, was it the strict military house? You got to make your bed. You eat at a certain time. It's got to be shoes at the foot of the bed lined up. Was that you? Was that the house?
Okay, let me put it to you like this. My mom made me iron my clothes to go outside and play.
That's great.
Like, does that help? Does that help at all? I mean, just so you understand what I was dealing with. And my mom beat me like Kunta. Like, my mom beat me bad. Like, she won't ever admit it because you know how parents be. Oh, I wasn't that bad. No, ma'am, you was. Me and Roots was going hand to hand. I'm just saying.
But you were the only child. How much trouble could you possibly get into?
And if my mom was here, she would tell you it's not because he was bad. It's because I wanted him a certain way. That's why I got whooped a lot because I didn't fit that mold that my mom wanted. Like I've always been a goofy kid. Like I've always been and I know Emma's like, man, my mom whooped me a lot. But it was always just who I was. You know what I'm saying? Like I was the outgoing, the loud, the speak up. Like I just always been that kid. So what you guys see now is nothing different than what I've been in high school and in middle school. Just now I have a platform to kind of get it out. But I've always been this kid. Like, anybody who's ever met me, they always say like, it's one person you never want to lose to, and it's Abreon. Like you don't want to lose to Abreon because you want to hear his mouth.
So with that, when you're saying that, and I know B about to take it after this. So were you, I know I'm going to get in trouble if I got the right shoe and if I put the left shoe over here. Were you that one just kind of egging that on? I'm building somewhere here with this now.
I can't talk too loud because my son is kind of like me to where when you go to.
So you're seeing it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's saying that they tell you now, B, I don't know how it is in your household, your community growing up. In our community, they always say, you are going to get what you gave your parents. Yeah. So to hear him say that, okay, cool, we good. It's on track.
My son is literally like the goofy side of me because he'll literally. Let me explain it to you like this. Let me tell you what I'm dealing with. Right. So we moved to Ohio. My son's first day of school at this new school, and I'm talking about it. The school is as white as cocaine. Okay, it's white. So he gets home. You know how kids are. Hey, how was your day? It was great, Dad. I had a great day. I loved it. Man, the teacher called me and said, Mr. Scott, I just want to kind of know, what Shy is all about. He was just on one. I said, well, he was on one. What do you mean? He was laying on the desk. He was rolling around. He was trying to cut a girl's hair. He was trying to cut a girl's book bag. I said, on the first day? I'm like, nobody like on the first day, you just trying to make friends. You quiet, you in the back. Dude, I'm like, what? I'm like, on the first day, man? And then the whole conversation, I said, I thought you had a great day. I did. Yeah, but
that was part of it. That was part of the great day.
I had a great time. I don't know what the teacher had, but I had a great. So, it's like that. So I see that in my son. Like when you're in it, you just do it. You don't think about, oh, I got a crazy mom. Like now the thought, and this, when you have those strict moms or you have that crazy mom or dad, it's the bad stuff that you really don't do. Like, I ain't about to go smoke with you because if my mom smells smoke on me, I'm dead. Right? Like, it's those type of situations. But like just being goofy and funny, those you just kind of walk into and then you're like, dang, I shouldn't have done that afterwards. But you're like, that's just who I was. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to take the L. But like doing the bad stuff, like stealing and hell no, man, my mom would have killed me.
No, I feel you on that one. Cause like you could get away with like talking back to somebody or like doing something small, but like there was stuff like my friends would be like, man, I'm grounded for doing XYZ, and I'm like, but you're here talking to me. like dude, I'd be like in the ICU right now if I would have came home and my mom would have found out I did that. There ain't no way.
Listen, man, I never forget this friend. I had a white friend early in my life. His name was Elliot. We were real close. His mom used to watch me in daycare, right? So we was probably like 6th, 7th grade. And I went over Elliot's house one time, my first time. I'm over there, I'm kicking it. We playing a video game, playing Nintendo 64. And his mom was like, Elliot, didn't I tell you to clean up? And like in a white fashion, Mom, didn't get out of my room. Why I had my friend over. Just going crazy. Man, my jaw was so far down. All I was like, I'm like, in my mind, I'm just like, Elliot, it was so nice to know you, man. Like, I just know you, Dad. I just know you. You know what I'm saying? But that was like my first experience with like just different cultural situations. And she's like, I'll talk to you after Abreon leaves. And I'm like,
in private. I'm
like, my mom will be like, you about to get embarrassed in front of all your little friends. You know what I'm saying? So,
and if they say something, they can get it too.
You know what I'm saying? So listen, that scarred me. I've never forgotten that in my life. That scarred me because I just knew. I was like, man, who's going to plan this boy's funeral? Like, I was like, is his mama going to plan it? Is his sister going to plan it? So, yeah, that was it for me. So it that was me growing up in a nutshell. I was a goofy kid. I was smart, but I really never just applied myself to the way I was supposed to be an A, B student. I was more of a C, B student.
Nah, like listen, bro, I saw my mom take my sister's door off the hinges for saying something like that one time. And she was like, whose room? And like, okay, I guess that's a good point. Like, but you see, you're the only child. Coach, I don't know about you. For me, I was the oldest. Bro, coming back when I went to college, I remember I visited home for the first time. It was like probably 3-4 months after I went off to college. I came back. I'm like, we got no rules here. We just allow my sister to do whatever. I'm talking about nothing. She's like, I can have friends over and do this and do that. I got no curfew. I'm like, huh?
No curfew.
I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, so I got beat to death for all this stuff, and she just gets to walk for like, nah. So you got lucky. You're the only child.
Free.
Well,
She's footloose and fancy free.
you know, for me, I was never able to blame nothing on nobody. I'm blaming it on the dog. You know what I'm saying? Like siblings, you know, I don't know how sibling, you know, codes is. You don't snitch, you do snitch or whatever. But, you know, like I couldn't blame nothing on nobody. It was just me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, mama, like with my kids, right? My Jesus Christ. I got a daughter. I got 3 kids. I got my toddler and I got my 8 and 6-year-old. Anytime something happens in the house, both of them did it. Oh, he did it. No, I didn't do it. He did it. So it's just like you always try to play detective. You know what I'm saying? You out here looking like Sherlock Holmes. Like who's tall enough to reach this, and who is like? Okay, good example, right? When we was in Georgia, I went to my daughter's room, and the blinds had been bit. She bit the blinds, right? So I'm walking. In our house, honesty is the best policy. I do not whoop you if you tell the truth. That's my number one rule.
That's a trick.
No. I'm dead serious. I'm a man of my word. I will not whoop you if you tell the truth because I'm trying to get them to feel comfortable, you know, telling the truth. Now you will get consequences, but it won't be a whooping. So I said, Eris, did you bite the blinds? No, sir. I said, oh, okay. I said, Shy, get in here. Yes, sir. I said, did you bite the blinds? No, not me, Dad. I didn't. I said, okay. I said, stand by the blinds, right? And I said, put your mouth on the blinds. He had to go like this. I said, now I know it ain't him. I know it ain't you. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm looking at my daughter, and my daughter, just like me, she gonna go down with the shit. I said, Eris, did you bite the blinds? No, sir. I said, you could just sit here and lie in my face. Dad, I'm telling you, they didn't bite the blinds. Like that's the stuff you got to deal with all the time when you have multiple kids, because it's just Bama just be lying. Bama just be lying. So man, listen. You and ain't nobody else to blame. Who else can you blame? So that's what I got.
That's true. That's true, man. So listen, I know you had to have an episode because people try to pull your card on the whole, you know, where did you play? Like you're critiquing everybody, all this. I mean, my guy was on the all state list, all league list, and got articles written about him in terms of performances. Talk about your journey throughout high school, man, and just developing into that wide receiver. And what was your recruitment process like? Man,
listen, bro. So I had played football for so long, it was ridiculous. But when I got to Kennedy, the coaches were just bad. And I told my mom after my freshman year, I said, I'm never playing football for them. So my 10th grade year, I go to Texas. I ball out, had a good time down there. You know, kind of my cousins were down there. They played football, so they kind of took me under their wing and stuff like that. So I came back to Maryland like, oh, yeah, I just played football in Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Maryland. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we not the same, right? So I'm feeling myself. My junior year comes, and we back to having bad coaches. I'm like, oh, here we go. So my senior year, we hire a new coach, Gunnar Twiner. And man, he was everything. A former wide receiver in the NFL, played in the Arena Football League. He played with the Bengals and he played with the Saints. And he just kind of he just changed the whole program. I can't even explain it. Like, I didn't do nothing for the summer. Like, if it wasn't football related, my mom was like, we got a cruise plane. I said, Mom, I can't go. I said, you know, I was going to Gunner's house. Like, we was watching film. Everything that you see me do, everything that I've learned was literally from that man. Like, he taught me everything. Like, he would have, and this is back in the days, and I know Blue, and I know y'all remember them video cameras that had the disc? Like, you had like the little
yeah. The little one, the mini.
The mini disc. So he DVR and we recorded. Like, it was just he's cutting up plays and snippets. Like, so we would have a sale concept, and he would have 4 different plays from different colleges showing it how it can be ran, right? So we were watching Cal when Deshaun Jackson was there, right? Like, we're watching all these cut-ups of Indiana and Nebraska and Ohio State, and just really soaking it all up and showing it against cover 2, showing it against cover 3, and showing it against cover. Like, I had never gone through that. So he was the true development of a wide receiver, of me as a wide receiver. Now, mind you, this was my first year playing wide receiver. Like, my junior year, I played a little defense, but my senior year, my friends were like, man, you should go out for wide receiver. Like, you always play wide receiver when you playing in the streets. I said, yeah. So I went, but mind you, I was always the hitter. I'd never been hit. Like it's a different mentality. Listen, I don't know. You know, you Florida guys, y'all different. So let me just y'all
exclude them. Exclude
exclude y'all because y'all be like, it's football. Like, nah, not for me. It was different. Like, when you go from being the hammer to being the nail, it's just a different philosophy. So, you know, my issue when I was coming up in high school was that I was like $160, $165, but I ran a 4.4, right? So my route tree was hitch, go, post, and corner. That was my route tree. I could run the whole route tree, but I'm not going across the middle at 165 at 5'11", 6 foot. You crazy. I'm 160. 165 with pads on. Right? So it's like, I'm not doing that. So it was a lot of, it was a lot of that, man. It was just a lot of matriculation. And I was like the coach's pet, man. Like I did a lot of the installs. I told all my teammates the routes. Like, I told my quarterback the routes. Like, I was just that guy. Like, I knew it like the back of my hand. So, but the thing about it where I hold people accountable is we were making adjustments. We were audible in high school. Like, I'm looking at the DB, and I'll give my my quarterback if I give him a middle finger, it's like we doing a go route. If I go like this, we doing a corner. You know what I'm saying? If I do like this, we doing a post. Like we he trusts what I saw to make it happen, and he would throw it. So when I see this stuff, and we did 2-minute drills with hand signals and all that, slants, hitches, all goals, like it was easy stuff. So when I see this stuff in college, like I'm like, you can't read defenses. You can't read a cover 3. You can't read a cover 4. You don't know what to do in a cover 2. Like it just stuff like this just boggles my mind because he gave us so much freedom in the offense. So to see offenses really kind of dumbed down for kids is really eye-boggling for me because I'm just like, really, wow, like that's crazy. So as the season went along, man, I was number 1 and number 2 back and forth with my county. I think I led the county in receptions, and I came in second in yards, and I came in second in touchdowns. My recruitment, man, it was a whirlwind because I'll never forget it. After I played Magruder, I scored a game-winning touchdown, and VMI was on the sideline, and that was my first offer. That was my first offer. VMI. I'll never forget it. It was a black short dude. He played DB. He walked with me and my mom all the way back to the locker room. And he's like, hey, man, we want you, man. Hey, we like what we see. We want you. Stuff like that. And then after VMI, it was Liberty. Then it was Richmond. Then it was Delaware. Then it was I had some D2s then I had some D3s. And it was just it was just a galore. I went on a visit to Richmond. I went on a visit to Liberty. Went on a visit to Delaware. So I really enjoyed myself, man. I really did. I wanted to go to Maryland. I thought I was good enough to go to Maryland. I was mad. Maryland did not offer me. But looking back, I wasn't a Power 5. I would have to grow into that. Because listen, listen, bro. If you were by me and you blew on me, I was gonna fall down. I ain't gonna lie to you. Listen, if I didn't run clear by you, if you was anywhere near me to touch me, I was gonna go down. I wasn't breaking no tackles. I wasn't doing none of that. I'm telling you, I'm just running by you. I'm just straight running by you. Like that was my whole stilo. I'm running by you. So it is what it is. So I'll never forget this game. We played Urbana, and Urbana in Maryland is it's like Yale for HBCUs, like them big white boys that you do not want to see, right? So we played against Urbana. It was first of all, my class was the first class to win a playoff game in over 20 years. We were the first. My class was the first winning season in 15 years. So let me tell, that's what I'm saying. And the next class was 07 and 08 are the only 2 winning records in the last 30 years.
They built a statue of your coach.
Stadium named after.
I've been trying to get him in the SWAC, but that's neither here nor there. But so we went up to see Urbana in the second round. We beat Seneca Valley, which is a powerhouse here in Maryland. Seneca Valley is like, if you know anything about Maryland football, Seneca Valley, Northwest, then you got the PG schools. But so we beat Seneca Valley, hadn't beat them in over 20 years. And then we played Urbana. Urbana, big white boys. So all they did was play prevent. That's all they did. Because they felt like, hey, they don't run the ball like that, right? But we got guys in the front, and they just pretty much they put their running back at safety and had their corners playing 10 yards off. And I'm like, what are we gonna do? Because if I turn around and get a hitch, I'm not breaking no tackles. I'm going down. Okay, we getting 5, maybe 7, and that's it.
What are we going to do?
What we going to do? Because I can't run by nobody 10 yards off me, and you already bailing. That don't even make sense, right? So I'll never forget this, right? I told my quarterback, I said, hey man, throw a go route. I don't care, throw it. He's like, but they playing. I said, I don't care, throw it. I run it. The running back goes, he shades my way. Dog, they met me in the air. I had never in my life been hit so hard. Like, I got up and my hip was just like, I was just like, I quit. I was done after that. I was just like, hey man, we gonna lose. I'm just like, I ain't got nothing for it. I wasn't like a physical football player. I was a finesse guy. Like, if you think of finesse, that was me. Okay, but I loved it, man. We had a good time, and then I got in trouble my senior year, so a lot of schools pulled back from me, and then which left me with no football offers. And then at the end of my recruitment, VMI still wanted to take me, but I didn't like. I don't know if anybody's been to VMI. It's different. Let me just say that it's very different.
Well, that was my next question, because I don't know much about VMI. Are they under the same as the Air Force Academy? And okay.
Yeah. It's just you get to choose instead of the Navy. You get to choose between the Marines and the Navy. VMI, you can choose any branch but the Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll let you go after your years there. They'll let you go into any branch. But that first month or two, you're called a rat. You're called a rat, and you have to walk around like this with your neck up, and you gotta like walk fast everywhere, and it's like boot camp. It's literally it's funny. I went to the Army anyway, so I could have went in as an officer if I would just step my ass in VMI. But anyway, so it's pretty much like basic training. But it's pretty much like basic training, but at a college. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what it. But the facilities, A1. Absolutely A1. And that was back in like 08, 09. So I can only imagine what it looked like now.
Yeah, military money.
The Citadel and like VMI and places like that, man, it's always like, but talking to the players, man, like, bro, if you're not like really dedicated into like doing all the military stuff on top of football, do not go to the Citadel and VMI thinking you're just going to go play football, because it ain't going to happen.
It's pointless.
Oh, you got to get up early in the morning and do all that stuff?
It's literally, I'm telling you, it's literally basic training, but you're in college. Pretty much it.
Let me pour up a drink for those fellas.
Yeah, bro. I talked to one of the Citadel guys who was declaring for the draft, and we were just talking off camera about everything. And he was like, "Dude, man, you think players work hard at other programs?" He was like, "You have no idea." Like all the stuff we had to do. He was like, in the morning before workouts, and we had workouts, and you had military stuff in the afternoon,
drilling ceremonies, all that type of stuff, man. Because think about it, they're preparing you. They're not preparing you for the NFL. They're preparing you for
military.
Being an officer in the military. So you have to understand drill and ceremony. You have to understand battle tactics. You have to understand, leadership and all. So it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not just you going in and be like, oh man, let me get this NIL. No, it ain't none of that. They're preparing you for life in the service. So it's different. Yeah, VMI is definitely different.
Man, before I toss it back to Fred, man, listen, we all know, went to Claflin. the transfer after that, man. Talk about your college experience, man. What was it about Claflin that made you make that decision? And then two, what led you to transfer after that first year?
So when I got to, so it was, we had a all black male group. It was called a Mate in Maryland, started by one of the guidance counselors, and it would be a HBCU tour. So he took us down to Atlanta. We went to Clark, we went to Morehouse, and we went to Fort Valley. They wanted me really bad. My dad lived in Savannah, so my dad was like, "Yo, go to Fort Valley," but it was in the middle of nowhere. Like, I just really couldn't get with that. Like, but the basketball stadium, absolutely amazing. And like, once again, that was back in 08, 09. But so we went up to Claflin, and I just loved the aesthetics. I really did. It was all brick. Everything is brick at Claflin. It was just, I love the aesthetics. And my mom loved the aesthetics when she came and visited. And my mom was like, "Hey, I can pay for this. Like, this is too much. I can pay for this." So, that was really what made my decision. At the time, I didn't think I was going to go back into football. So that's why I made the decision to go to Claflin. And the whole time, I never knew what South Carolina State really was. Like, I didn't know, I did not know South Carolina State had like a D1 football program. I knew nothing about South Carolina State, even though I was a fence away from them, literally. I knew nothing. All I knew was that you got the towers and you got them hood girls at South Carolina State. All right. So if you want, you know what I'm saying? You go across that fence. It's a different life. It's a different life. Because in Claflin, you couldn't have no girls in your dorm. It was real. Yeah. Oh yeah. Claflin was strict. Now I think they're a little loose, but yeah, Claflin was super, super strict about that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'll tell you about it. Listen, Orangeburg is not for the weak. Let me just say that. So down in Orangeburg, we played flag football and stuff like that. And I got off on playing that and stuff like that. And everybody was like, "Man, I was like, "Yeah, I used to play." So one time we playing football, and people, as people do, they talking trash, getting heated. One of the dudes said, "Now this is how like naive I am, because I'm coming from Montgomery County. You know what I'm saying? We don't have this. We don't go through these issues in Montgomery County, right? All we had was the DC sniper, and that was just like, it just is what it is." So, he had that one gun violence incident, DC sniper, duck, dodge, dip. You know what I'm saying? So,
hey, before you finish your story, were you hurt when they found out and showed who the snipers were?
Oh my God, we just knew he was white. Boy, we just knew he was white. I'm telling you.
Back to your story.
So in Orangeburg, they argue, hey, Bo, hey, yeah, no, we ain't gonna do that, Bo, because in Orangeburg they don't say the N-word, they say Bo. So he's like, no. He's like, "Don't be here when I get back. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Don't be here when I get back." So I'm hanging with my guys. I'm like, what is he? Don't be here when he get back. Man, he goes to his car. He comes out, we gone. Like, hey, listen, you talking about cockroaches wasn't moving as fast as we was, boy. We was out, skedaddle. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that, Orangeburg is not for the weak. Let me just say that. But I had a good time down there, made some real good friends, man. And so while I was at Claflin, I started sending out my high school tape to different colleges. Cause I'm like, man, I want to play football. This ain't it. University of New Haven was just starting their program back up. So they was like, "Hey, yeah, we'll take a flyer on you. Yeah, like we'll give you a partial. You know what I'm saying? You come up here, we'll give you a partial and stuff like that." I said, "Okay, cool." So went back to Maryland, got my stuff, had my girlfriend at the time take me up to New Haven. And I loved it. You know what I'm saying? It felt like stuff that I had dealt with in Maryland. You know what I'm saying? Like at Claflin, it was new for me because I had never been around that many black people in my life. Like just,
even when you went to Texas?
That's fair. But it's still, Paris, Texas is like white and black. It ain't just all black. Paris, Texas is it's not diverse, but it's very mixed. So you're going to get like 50% white and you're going to get 50% black, right? And it's just, that's the high school. I had never been to an all black anything in my life. Let me be I ain't never been to all black nothing. So being around that, it was a culture shock for me, really, because I'm like, it's a lot of black people. Like, just like a lot. Like, there's a lot of y'all. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them have been to all black high schools, so this is what they felt comfortable. You know what I'm saying? This is what they knew. For me, it was different. I'm just like, I gotta get up out of here. Where the white people? You know, where are my people? You know, I'm so used to being around different cultures. So when I went to New Haven, I was like, oh, I can get with this. I got blacks, I got whites, I got Hispanics. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, cool. And you know, played there for a year. And let me just say this: I've never been a party type. I just slept. Like I slept all the time. Like I missed class just sleeping. My girlfriend would wake me up. She would come wake me up. My girlfriend at the time would come wake me up, make sure I got dressed, walk me to the elevator. She would go back to her dorm. I would go back up the stairs and go back in my room and go to sleep. Like I never went to class because I just slept. I didn't party. I just was tired all the time. So just wasn't my cup of tea. And then when I did go to class, I would pass the test because I'm an audio learner. So you just tell me I passed the test. So I'll get like a 60. I get like a 72. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just enough to make it by. So, but after a couple of that, my mom was like, yeah, we can't keep doing this. So she was like, you either got to work or go into the military. And I decided to go to the Army.
Man, I mean, when you made that decision to go into the military, what was I guess, let me just say this. What was your first experience like? And was it something that you saw immediately as a potential long-term career, or did you always kind of know you were going to do something else?
The thing, my mom retired. Listen, when my family is a military family. Like my cousins like 18 years in the service. My mom, 23. My dad, 15. My aunt, 30. My other aunt, 25. Like, you know, my uncle, he did the Air Force for 16. Like, we are a military family. There's probably like no generation of my family that has not been in the service. So I won't say it's a family tradition, but it's like kind of like a family tradition. So it's like, if nothing else works, go into the service, right? When I got to the service, I knew I wasn't going to be there long because you just not going to talk to me no any type of way. Because one, you don't scare me because my mom was my drill sergeant. So I'm like, none of y'all scare me. Right. Yeah, there ain't nothing worse than my mom. But I just never liked how people could get in a position of power and not be able to do the job or do it better than the person they're trying to teach. That really bothered me. Right. So like, how can you be a sergeant and you fat and you can't run, but you expected me to run, 2 miles underneath 12 minutes. And logically, that just didn't make sense to me. So my first few years in the military was hard for me because I kept talking back. I'd be like, they be like, I had like, when you in the military, you have to shave, and black people, when we shave, we get razor bumps. Right. So I didn't have a no shaving profile. So the sergeant was like, he looked at me. He was like, oh, Private, you going to shave? I said, negative, Sergeant. He said, what? I said, negative. He said, Private Scott, you going to shave your face? I said, who going to make me? Like that's the type of, I've always challenged authority. That's just in my nature, because if it doesn't make sense, my mom has always taught me to ask why. So I knew the military was never a long-term plan for me because I just couldn't get with the blind loyalty, the blind just do as I say, do as you're told type of situation, to where I'm like, so you want me to cut the grass with scissors, but there's a lawnmower right over there? Yeah, Private. Why? Like, there's the grass still gonna get cut. It's a lawnmower right there. See, a lot of people don't understand the military. You do a lot of dumb stuff like mopping floors, buffing floor. Like, people are like, oh, military is all bang, bang. No, you be out there doing some, you be out there picking up trash, like doing dumb stuff, because if you're taught to fight and there's no fight, what you supposed to do? You got to do something with your time, right? You washing windows, you wiping down bathroom stalls, you doing a lot of cleaning, okay? If you in the military, you can start your own maid service because you do a lot of cleaning. So it was just the dumb stuff to me that I just couldn't get with. And the way the military conditions you is that they condition you to think that if you leave, you're not going to find a job. Like you get a lot of people re-enlist just because they're scared, right? You have this comfortability of, I got a guaranteed check on the 1st and 15th. I got guaranteed benefits. I'm going to get fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a comfort level that you don't have to go out and do anything. So people just be like, man, you know, I'm gonna just sign up for another 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, you 12 years in and you like, shit, I might as well just go to 20 and get my retirement. So that's how the military gets you, and they keep you in this pattern. So for me, you know, once my re-enlistment date came up, I said, nah, I can't do this no more. And my mom was like, you should, you should make it a career. I said, Mom, this ain't for me. Is it? It ain't for me. I thank God for going into the service. And I'll tell all my kids to go into the service because of the benefits you get getting out of it. Like the benefits you get. Listen, I get a lot. Let me just say, I get a lot of checks from the military. Let me just say that. Okay. I get a lot of checks from the military. So my income is supplemented by a lot of other things just in YouTube that I was able to get because I was in the service, right? So you get the VA loan. I got my associate's degree for free because, you know, you got the 9/11 bill for education. So there's so many benefits. I've never been in student loan debt. I don't even know what that looked like. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, those are some of the benefits for the military. And I tell anybody, because a lot of kids come up and ask me, or family members like, hey, what do you think? Listen, I tell people all this. The military, the Army, the Navy, they're going to use you. So use them jokers. Like, get every penny you can, because they're going to use you. So make sure you use them and if you get in there, get what you want to get and get out and keep pushing. Keep it pushing.
Real quick, I know someone in the chat asked, what branch were you in?
Army hood. Come on, man. It's only one branch. Ain't no other branch. It's one branch. Nobody talks to the bullet eaters of Marines. Nobody talks to the people that sit in chairs all day, the Air Force, and nobody trying to be on the water for years at a time. All right, it's only one branch. It's the Army. Come on, let's not do this.
Hey, so and all that leads into, so did your mom ever come back now and be like, I really wish I wouldn't have taught you or instilled in you to seek the real answers? I mean, because has that ever come back to bite her? And then, given your family history, as I read, are you talked about at Thanksgiving? Like, look at him, he just did 6 years. Are you ever talked about like that? And then, you know, lastly, when you're talking about your military deal, I used to try to make it a point of telling people, you know, because my brother's retired Air Force, you know, thank you for, you know, your service. Thank you for all you did. I don't know about that, Scotty. I don't know if I could tell you that, man, and really mean it.
I did 6 years. It's okay. And you know what? And listen, it does not bother me a bit, right? Because I tell people all the time, I was never deployed. And I'm cool with that. Like, I was stationed in Japan. I was stationed in Korea. I've been to Guam. I've been to Seattle. I've been to Hawaii. I've been some places now. I just never went over to, you know, Iraq or Afghanistan. And I told people straight up, if you see me on your 162, that's a personnel sheet, right? Like, so in the football term, that's the depth chart. And if you see me on your depth chart going to Afghanistan or Iraq, understand I'm shooting first, asking questions later. I'm making it back to my mama. Okay, I don't care. I told people straight up, I'm shooting anything that moves. Okay, my friends be like, you know, Scotty, I said women and children. Okay, women and children and dogs. I'm shooting everything. I'm making it back to my mama. Okay, that's what I'm doing. So God answered my prayers. He never deployed me. Thank God. I'm good with that. I ain't got nothing to prove. Okay, nothing. I've been to the gun range. I done shot my little M16. Pow, pow, pow. I'm good. I did all that. I'm good. So did y'all come to a mutual agreement? You leave, we'll give you an honorary. You stay, we gonna make it a dishonorable discharge. Did y'all have a sit down on that? No, it's just you do your time, and once you've done your time, and you ain't got in trouble or nothing like that, you just get an honorable discharge. So
no injury, or
I messed up both my knees really bad, really, really bad. Like I'm talking about like really bad. I broke my finger playing ultimate frisbee. You know what I'm saying? I've had some injuries, man. I've had some injuries. And listen, y'all can say whatever you want. Ultimate frisbee go hard.
That's a goated game. It really is.
Come on, Blue. Thank you, man. The ultimate frisbee goes hard. Yeah, people be sleeping on it. Ultimate frisbee is super competitive if you get the right people who know what they're doing.
Especially former football players for sure.
In a nutshell, as simple as you can put it, what is ultimate frisbee?
It is a walking version.
Draft me. Make me want to do it.
It is a walking version of football, right? Like so like
you lost me.
You throw the frisbee, you run, you get it. You can only once you catch it, you can only take 3 steps, and then you got to throw it and move it. So you literally it's like a passing game. Like it's like 7-on-7 with a frisbee. It's dope. Listen.
Yeah, it's like if you combine soccer and football together almost.
It's dope.
Like it's just like a constant football. Like you just got to keep it moving. Just got to keep it moving. And if you pick it 2 steps and you go in the other way, and all your guys better be ready to go straight back the other way.
Well, I'm talking about people who can really throw it. They launching it. I'm talking about 20, 30 yards. They're just sailing. And then if you a wide receiver like me, that's the best stuff. Cause I'm just going up there and snagging them jugs. Like, feel like Odell Beckham, one headed. Just I'm telling you, ultimate frisbee's where it's at.
So where are you playing? I mean, are we throwing this thing if we can keep it going from Tampa to Miami, or is there?
You play it like a normal football field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like because we used to play it like PE all the time. Like in high school, all the football players, like bro, like all of us who had more middle school, because high school we weren't allowed to do PE, obviously, because we go out there and play basketball and someone break their hand during the season. But middle school, all the football team, we all had whoever all had the same PE period. We get teams together and we just play ultimate frisbee up and down the practice field, all PE.
It's so.
I like both of y'all, man, but I'm just kind of.
You gotta get. Yeah, I'm telling you. Listen.
I'll YouTube it.
Listen, the quarterbacks and wide receiver room at Alcorn after practice one day, just go out there and play ultimate frisbee.
I promise you, they'll love it. They'll love it because at first you be like, when they first told me, I was like, you want me to run and chase a frisbee? But then when you get into it and you're because anybody who plays sports, they're competitive, so you just be like, it just get crazy, bro. It get crazy. It's funny. The guy tackled me and my finger went into the ground, and so it broke. But the crazy thing, I never broken a bone in my body. Well, I'm lying. I broke 2 bones. But anyway, when this would happen, I went to the Air Force. The guy had said, I've been doing this for 30 years. He said, I have never seen somebody break a bone and it come through your nail. So like it came through my nail. So the nail bed was like out, and then the bone was sticking out of the nail bed. He said, I ain't never seen that. So yeah, so it was fun. And I finished the game. I'm like, but being great. You just gotta be great.
So maybe during the dirt on it and kept going.
Absolutely.
So in between your love for ultimate frisbee, man, when did and this is one of the things like I really wanted to get you on and talk about, because the coaches lounge and all that was born through, Blue, born through you, watching you guys. So when did the love for, and I know people hate to use the term, but when did the love for you for media, when did this come about, and how did this morph into off script, drop one of those bombs? When did we get to this?
Man, y'all diving deep. Okay, so and we keeping it real. So after my divorce, I was in a dark place, and I talk about this. I've talked about this on my channel. Like I thought about suicide, and because I didn't have a father. My dad was locked up in and out of my life, and I made myself a promise that I wouldn't be that for my kids. Like I would be a present father for my kids. So when I got a divorce and I became a weekend parent, it really affected me. And in that process, I had just started doing like an audio podcast just to get my feelings, just to get this stuff off of me, right? Like I wasn't doing it for nobody. I was literally just doing it for myself. And the first thing I ever did was called Keeping It 100 podcast, Keeping It 100. And it was just me like talking about what I was going through, my emotions and feeling depressed and being mad and angry and all that type of stuff. Of course, it didn't go nowhere. It was just for me personally. I think I uploaded like 5 episodes, but that started the bug of wanting to be in media and just doing it, because all my life, my friends were like, man, like when I was at New Haven, they kept asking me like, Scott, are you a communications major? And I said, nah, like I'm a poli-sci major. They was like, nah, bro, you need to be in communications. Cause I've always loved sports. And it's the only thing I felt like I knew. Like I didn't, like a lot of stuff, like Blue is a freaking neurosurgeon. Okay. Like, he knows, like the man was smart. Okay. Like he knows his shit. Me,
yeah, I still don't even know how he got here. You know what I mean?
The man was just
From
smart.
His major, what are you doing? How did you get here?
You know what I'm saying? So the man was just smart, right? Like for me, it felt like I didn't know nothing else but sports. Like that's what I felt like. I'm just like, I'm not good at nothing else but sports. Like the military taught me how to work with computers, but I don't love computers. Like I don't sit up at night and be like, ooh, this CPM and RAM and grit. I don't give a damn. I do the job. I take my ass home. You know what I'm saying? So sports had always consumed me. Like I just think about it all the time. So it was something I love. It was passion for. So I started my friend who I started Off Script with. He was like, he bothered me for like 2-3 years. He's like, man, we should start a YouTube channel. I'm like, man, I got kids. I ain't got time for that. He's like, I'm telling you, man, like we get there, we do it, financial freedom, we this, we that, 50, because he had a car channel that had started to take off. So he kind of saw what YouTube was for him. So I said, I finally was reluctant. I was like, all right, man, I'll do it. He said, man, nah, I need you to come to Florida, because he lived in Florida. He's like, come to Florida. And we do this podcast together. This was like 2 months before COVID hit. So I was supposed to move down there in January. My ex-wife got pregnant with my 3rd kid, right? Weird situation. That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other.
Because I was about to ask you, but then I was like, you know what? We gonna keep it moving.
You know what I'm saying? That's because I was double dipping when I shouldn't have been dipping. Okay, anyway, so yeah. But so I found out she's pregnant. So I was like, hey man, she pregnant. I can't come. He like, all right, bro. February, March hit, COVID. So I'm at the crib. I started doing travel IT. You know what I'm saying? I started doing travel IT. Took me to Columbus, took me to Seattle, I'm probably making like $3,000-$4,000 a week, just making stupid money during COVID. My mom like, when the job first came available to me, they was like, hey, we want you to do some travel IT, set up some like conferences and stuff. Listen, it was like I don't give a damn if it was SARS. Okay, for $3,000 a week, I'll be out there nomad.
We're gonna chance it.
I said, what? My cousin was like, I don't know, Abreon, COVID, she's a nurse. So, she's like, COVID's been serious. I said, listen, if I get it, I get it. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go. But I'm going to make this money. Okay. So, I probably did that for about 6-7 months. So I came back with like a stack of money, just comfortable. Right. But so I did that. And, while I was gone, and I'm gonna get it. It's all gonna come together. So while I was gone, I got an interview for a job in South Carolina in the military, like working on a military base. So I took it, packed up my little Honda Civic, sold my BMW. I was like, all right, cool, let's roll. So drove from Texas to South Carolina, and I started doing that. And so me and my guy linked back up, and that's when COVID. So everything was virtual now. Nobody had a problem doing a virtual podcast because we've been virtual for the last 6-7 months. So it worked out. So Off Script started with me and another guy, and we doing pro sports, bro. When I tell you it's like 10 views, my mama, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a couple friends, it's like 10, 15, 20 views. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm like, dang. So we did that for probably like 2 months strong. And he started falling off, and then he just quit. Like one day he just quit. Didn't tell me he was quitting. Just like never. We still cool, but he just never talked to me about it again. So Man, and just like the entrepreneur story, be like, man, I had that $1 in my pocket, and then like it was literally like that. So I swear to God, I was about to quit. I said, man, I'm about to get this up. I'm in a Black YouTube group, and Cut reaches out to me. And he says, hey man, I like what you do, but I think you're in the wrong space.
Shout out to Cut.
I always give Cut so much respect. And I said, the wrong space? He said, yeah, man. He said, I'm doing this HBCU stuff, and I think you'll be great in that space. I said, bro, I don't know nothing about HBCUs. Like, all I knew was Morehouse and Spelman and Morgan and Bowie. That's all I knew about HBCUs and Claflin, right? He's like, man, I'm telling you. So he showed me the analytics when he talked about Justin Jefferson, and then he was showing me this analytics when he talked about HBCUs, and I mean, the views are off the chart. So I'm like, okay, cool. I said, I tried it. Guess who lands in Jackson State 2 weeks later?
Yep.
Deion Sanders lands. And the rest is history. I made my first Deion Sanders video in my cousin's spare bedroom in the corner. It got me 15,000 views. I never looked back. And that's how OffScript was born. I was doing it in South Carolina. I kind of brought it with me from Texas to South Carolina. Still kept doing it, and man, it just took off from there. And the funny thing was I was doing my full-time job while I was doing YouTube, and a situation happened at my job to where I needed something to happen, or they were going to fire me. So I just left, right? And I just left. How Black people are like, hey, man, listen, I ain't going to give you the chance to fire me, So that happened. And then Key, I was dating Key at the time. I'll never forget it. It was November. It was in November, October or November of 2021. And I came home and I said, babe, they were going to fire me, so I had to let go. And she told me, I'll never forget it. She was laying in my bed and she was working from home. And she said, God told me to tell you that you need to do YouTube. And I ain't never looked back. I was making like $500 a month off YouTube at that time. Nothing. I was probably bringing in like $1,200 just like with YouTube and military stuff and just some outside stuff. Like I was, dog. And the beautiful thing at that time was my expenses were low. Now, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I wasn't paying my child support at that time because I couldn't afford it. Like when I had my job, it was coming out, it's coming out my check every month. Like I ain't have to worry about it. But once I lost my job, I only got $1,200. I gotta survive. You know what I'm saying? I got rent, bills.
Gotta go, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to go all in, and you got to believe in it. So when people used to tell me, and I know y'all watched me back if you watched me back in the early days, I was doing 3 shows a day. Ain't nobody was working as hard as me because I had to go get it. Right now, I'm living with a roommate, so my rent's like $600, right? Got to pay my cell phone bill, got to pay my internet bill, you see that $1,200 ain't going too far, you know what I'm saying? And I still got to eat. So when I tell you it was a grind and a struggle to get off the mat, it absolutely was. But that's why nobody can tell me nothing about my wife, because she was right there with me the whole time. She rode with me the whole time. When we was going down to visit, she was using her credit card. When we was going down to visit, I was using her car she was driving me down to go see games and stuff early in our relationship. She believed in me. When I got to interview Deion, she flew herself to meet me in Jackson. She paid for her own ticket, came and stayed with me at the hotel, got us a rental car because I ain't have it, right? Did not. I was about to be Ubering, if you feel me. So there's when I talk highly about my wife, is because my wife believed in me when nobody else did. When my mom told me I was stupid and I needed to go back and get my job, my wife, like for real, like my wife was there when everybody was laughing at me because they like, oh, he trying to do this YouTube thing. Like nobody nobody believed in me. You know what I'm saying? But my wife and but me. And she's the only thing that kept me grounded and telling me, no, God said, this is your space. Go get it. And it's been a blessing 2-3 years later. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're able to move into a 4-bedroom townhome from a 2. When I was renting out a 2-bedroom apartment, you know what I'm saying, with a roommate. You know what I'm saying? My office was in the dining room, in the kitchen, in the dining room. Like, so when you say started from the bottom, like, that was me. But a lot of people thought it came easy, and it never did. It never did, man. So that's how OffScript got started.
Well, I know, and you know my boy, y'all call him Pretty Tony, my boy Rodney Hot Rod.
Pretty T.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Rodney, kind of Deion's right hand or whatever. And he kind of put me to your space. Hey, you know, check this cat out, man, blah, blah, blah. You need to come up. So, you know, he's steadily trying to get me there. I watch you, and I think if you remember one of our first conversations, I was like, man, I kind of saw you as Howard Stern, shot jock. Do you remember me telling you that?
Yeah.
And you were like, nah, man, you know, it's part of where I'm from, man. Drop one of Clue's bombs and, you know, all that. Yeah. So, I don't know if you remember that conversation, but you get that, you're rolling, and I don't want to say adversity, because I think you wear that with a badge of honor, man. Like you go get it. You don't shy away from it. But at some point in time, those things start to wear on you and second guess. Does OffScript second guess about doing this at any point before we get to this being a guest on the lounge? Shameless plug for the lounge.
Listen, I love this, man. This is absolutely dope, man. Shout out to you and Blue for doing this, man, because people need to know this stuff. People need to know people's stories and backgrounds that they listen to and watch and stuff like that. Do I second guess? No. Do I consult? Yes. Like, I don't know if anybody, I have a conscious committee, right? And my conscious committee consists of Mr. D, Mr. Campbell, my boy Kenny, my wife, right? She's the head conscious committee because she talked to God. So it's like, they can say some stuff, but then my wife, if she tell me God said don't do that, then I ain't doing it, right? So she like the chair, you know what I'm saying? She's like, you can listen to Mr. Campbell and all of them, that's good. But if it goes against what God told me, you ain't doing it. So I never second guess, but I do consult. And because to me, I don't know everything. And I tell people all the time, I'm not above criticism. I love it. You know why I love it? Because you're either going to tell me something to make myself better, or you're going to be so bothered by me, but you're going to watch to make sure I'm doing something wrong. Right? I love it. Like, I don't know what it is. It fuels me when people say, "Oh, Scotty, I can't stand you." I love it. Right? Like, because you
unfollow me.
Oh, I love it. Because when you grow up with a mom like I did, like me and my mom, we always don't see eye to eye, but I always give her kudos for how she raised me, because my mom was so critical, right? Like, I could have a 3-touchdown game and I'd be like, yeah, Mom, you saw that? She'd be like, well, why'd you drop the 4th one? I'd be like, but I got 3. And she'd be like, you would have had 4. They ain't gonna let you catch it. You got to grab that thing. Like, so it's never good enough. It's never good enough. And you have to understand how to process that, because if you don't understand how to process that, it will drive you crazy, because you're always trying to please somebody. And when you understand the fact that not everybody's going to like you, it's a lot easier when you know that. When you know that I can't please everybody, it's just like, the people that like me, they like me. People that don't, they don't. And like, I don't know what else to tell you, right? I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm cool with that. Y'all probably not my cup of tea. Right. So it's just having that understanding, which makes it so easy for me to deal with the negative comments. It makes it so easy for me to my wife be over there like, how do you not block all these jokers? I'd be like, because I'd be like, babe, they pay your bills. Like that's They pay you the nails, it's them haters. Because let me break it down even further. The people that like you, they'll watch you, but they won't watch you as intently as people who hate you. People who hate you, ooh, boy, they be like,
that was dope right there.
Proud of you. Oh, see that pom pom in the back. See, that's why I don't even rock with you like that. See, they watch you so intently that they'll. I can't tell you what's wrong with you if I don't watch you. So when people be in the comments like, "Oh yeah, he gotta keep Jackson State in his mouth to make it relevant," I say, "Man, you still watching." That's all I say. You still watching, right? So that you got to understand how to process negativity, because life comes with negativity, and if we as people don't know how to move in it, then you're gonna drive yourself crazy, and the people that are making you mad ain't gonna care. So,
you better jump in, man, because I'm rolling.
I mean,
but
I love it, man. You see, this is good because I mean, listen, man, me and Scotty have had so many conversations off camera about stuff like this, man. So it's good. But I mean, man, I remember a conversation me and you had. It was after one of the round tables where we talked about building something bigger than just a channel, and you were kind of on the forefront in the HBCU space where we're launching the round table, we're launching Outspoken. You got the Coach's Corner that Rocky's doing a heck of a job with Coach Cole. You've had different shows moving forward, and I think everyone loves BJ, Zoe, Perry, everyone coming together on that show as well. Talk a bit about when the vision expanded, because listen, man, you've built a successful channel, but it's different when people know that they can tune in on Monday, tune in on Wednesdays, and tune in on another day at that time. When did it expand for you?
It started with the Afterglow.
Yep.
And it was, and shout out to Kofi. You guys see him in the back. But shout out to Mr. Campbell. Shout out to Mr. Campbell, because Mr. Campbell hit me up in the messenger. He said, "Man, I got a guy that I think that you guys would do really well together." Right. And it was just a good, and it wasn't even, if I'm being honest, it wasn't even supposed to be anything that continued. It was just like, he's supposed to be a special guest, and you guys talk about sports, and then we move on. But I enjoyed his company. I enjoyed the conversation. And I said, "Hey, man, you want to do it again?" He said, "Sure." You know what I'm saying? So we did it again. And then we did it again. And then the next time we did it, he was like, "Man, we got to come up with a name." And then he said, "What about the Afterglow?" I said, "What the hell is that? What is it?" Like, I'm like, "What is an Afterglow?" He's like, "It's kind of like the after party, but it's not an after party, it's the Afterglow." And I said, "What the?" In my mind, I'm like, but that was always Kofi. And the thing that made it work with me and Kofi was he would think he didn't think like me. And that's what made it work, because I never got it. Like, get the belt, I didn't get that. Like, it didn't when he first said it, it never resonated with me. I wasn't like, "Oh, Kofi, oh, that's a killer. You go kill him with that one." I was like, get the belt. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna bring out the belt for Larry and like if you getting whooping." I said, "Okay." Okay. Because in the key, being my wife, I said, "Babe, I don't think that's gonna be funny." And she said, this is what she said. She said, "Let the audience be the judge if it's funny or not." And when he did it, and it just took off, and it just was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the stuff that you can't like coach it. You can't, it's in you. You got it. And the one thing I loved about Kofi was he was just full of ideas. As crazy as they could be. I'm talking about, we'd be in Christmas, he want to talk about Halloween movies. I said, "Kofi, why would we talk about Halloween movies?" I'm telling you, Scotty, it'd be, and he was just full of life. So once the Afterglow came, because I really didn't have a vision for OffScript, if I'm being honest with you. I just was like, this is me talking, having fun, just, breaking down football. Once the Afterglow came, then I started seeing it my mind just shifted into seeing it as a network. I'm just like, I need to have programming. And then for me, the way I think about how I grew up, and I told Blue this, I said, I loved all that. I loved Cousin Skeeter. And the reason I love those shows is because I could sing it. I can sing them. I can sing the song right now. Oh, this is you remember that type of stuff, right?
Cousin Skeeter.
Because you don't remember Cousin Skeeter? What? That was the show, right?
Oh, you know Cousin Skeeter?
I've heard of it. That's crazy that I've heard of it and you haven't.
You haven't heard Cousin Skeeter?
He grew up in Florida. They got different TV down there.
Yeah, antenna TV.
They got the different TVs down in Florida.
Megan Good was with Cousin Skeeter.
I can't.
Oh my goodness! Right?
I got to Google that now. I got to YouTube it now. No doubt.
Do that. So, but it was that. It was those type of shows that when you heard the theme song, like, oh, here it go, doom, 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 boom, boom, doom, Kenan and Kel, right? So it's like all those shows. They touch a space because you can remember the theme song. So that was really big for me. That's why I did a theme song for the Roundtable. That's why I did a theme song for Afterglow. That's why I did a theme song for Outspoken, because that just signified, what you're watching. When you hear, hey Scotty, I'm back. It's what you about to get into, right? So I love that aspect of it. But once I did the Afterglow with Kofi, it just is like, I started thinking bigger. I started thinking as a network. I started thinking as a studio. I started thinking as, how can I give people the opportunity to give them a voice, right? Because I'm an outsider, right? I'm an outsider. So why don't I give more outsiders voices? Why don't I give more people that they've thrown to the side an opportunity to get their voice heard? Why can't people enjoy hearing a Rocky? Why can't people enjoy hearing a Kofi? Why can't people enjoy hearing, Blue or whomever that, they and then they like who they like? You get what I'm saying? So it just grew from there, man. And I thank God. And it's funny seeing around the space now that people are starting to have their own shows and doing those type of things. I always tell Key, like, I'll never get the credit I'll never get the flowers that I deserve, but I love to see the impact that I've made in this space. You know what I'm saying? And I just love it.
Well, I just gave you yours.
Yeah, but I'll say you got some flowers on here. I mean, I will say I remember we had a conversation. It was, listen, we talked about prom leaving before prom left because we both saw it coming.
Yeah.
And we both talked about, we saw a lot of platforms, a lot of people that weren't looking past the moment, where they were building their platforms on this big hype wave, but there was no stability, there was no longevity with what they were building. When you look across the space now, you see so many more people finding their footing, finding their longevity, thinking ahead. For you, looking at the HBCU media space, man, what's next? We asked Josh this question. For you, if you had to move the space forward, what's next for the HBCU media space?
It's live sports and programming coming together, right? Like it's shows like this, it shows like HBCU Nightly, it shows like, stuff on OFFSCRIPT, being on a major network and partnering with HBCU Live Sports. Listen, I watched that interview with Josh and I reached out to Josh. I asked Josh straight up, tell me your vision, right? Tell me the goal. What does it look like? Because when he said what he said,
shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out to y'all, because I never hear that if I don't watch the interview, right? So when he's talking about building an HBCU network with everybody and him building bridges, that resonated with me. And usually, I'm gonna keep it buck with y'all. Usually, I'm kind of like, nah, F that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna ride with the people that I ride with. I'm gonna ride with Blue. I'm gonna ride with Rocky. I'm gonna ride with Perry. I'm gonna ride with the guys I came to the party with. That's always been my mindset. I'm gonna win with the horses that I came with, right? But when he was breaking it down, I was like, I don't know. So I talked to the wife. I said, babe, Josh said this. I played the clip for her. I rewinded up. I said, what you think about this? And she said, it's not a bad idea, but it's a lot of egos. It's a lot of egos in this in your space. It's a lot of. She said, you being the main one. you being the main.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but I'll wait. I'll wait.
You know what I'm saying? She's like, my wife is real. She's like, you being the main one. She's like, could you do that? And I said, I think I could. And so it stayed with me that morning. I was like, man, I got to call Josh. I called Josh. I said, yo, I saw you on Blues Jank. Talk to me about what you're trying to do. He broke it down to me, said what he said. I said, bro, I'm in. I said, I'm in. I said, if I gotta bury the hatchet with some people, I'll just bury the hatchet with them. You know what I'm saying? Like that, because to me, the thought and the idea is bigger. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than, because how I view it is, you build an HBCU network, like a legit programming network, and you make it a multi-million-dollar business or whatever. Now, instead of us talking about why isn't the SWAC conference hiring, HBCU graduates, we're hiring HBCU graduates. We're putting in interns. We're getting in talent from FAMU journalism programs and Alcorn, journalism. We're taking these and we're giving them opportunities, right? You know what I'm saying? So to me, I loved it. And when he broke it down to me, I said, I'm all for it, bro. I said, you tell me what you need from me, I'm doing it, right? Because I see the bigger picture, and I'm the biggest solo dolo type of guy, and I'll go down with the ship by myself. But I feel like when an idea like that comes about, I'm like, yo, you got to ride with it. And I told Josh, I said, I'll ride with you, bro. I'm cool with that.
No, and go ahead.
Go ahead,
Coach.
Bad.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I was about to go left. You go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was talking, I've talked with Josh about it. Now I've thought about it myself, because when he said it, I was like, makes sense, because you see it done across so many other spaces. I think even those podcast networks like Locked On and Believe, it was the Believe Network and all that, man, they've done a heck of a job, and they're paying a lot of people to do a lot of stuff, the same stuff that we're doing, all independently. And also too, because obviously the first thought was, well, me being in the space, I know X person doesn't like Y person, and Y person doesn't mess with A person, and the A person don't like X or Y or Z.
Yeah.
But when you look at like the ESPNs, the Fox Sports stuff, man, a lot of those people don't like each other. Like, you don't have to go hang out and, have a show together or nothing like that. It's just, bro, let's come together, get the money, get the bag. And bro, like, we're cordial. We'll call it that. We're acquaintances at that point. We ain't got to be best friends or nothing like that. And so for me, thinking about it was like, I can still ride with my people, because obviously you, BJ, Josh, Coach, I mean, those are the guys that I would have a show with y'all. But there's some people who I probably wouldn't want to have a show with, but I could be cool with. Like, I have no problem with them. And for me, the biggest thing is, I'm kind of like you, is a lot of the times it was kind of tough for me to start. I came in with the co-host, and kind of like your story. I think that's why we're so cool, is he stepped away and I kind of got left with everything, and we took it a different direction. But for me, is like, bro, my level of like the expectation of what I want to do is here. And I feel like if I bring someone, I got to make sure I can trust them to bring it to that level, because I'm not going to settle for it being here. And I feel like we're kind of on the same page with that. But to me, man, when he said it, it all just kind of clicked where, bro, egos aside, we can all be cordial. That don't mean we have to all have a show together.
Absolutely, man. And to me, I look at it like, when the diversity that you come with, and I'm gonna keep it I'm gonna keep it a stack, right? Like, can I keep it real with y'all? This coaching line, right?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
If you're talking about big dogs in this HBCU space, right? It's HBCU game day. It's me. It's you. It's G. HBCU nightly, of what they've done on Twitter. I mean, I know y'all might not see the YouTube, but what they've done on Twitter and what they built, right? And if you want, and Ken Clark and the 1400 Club and stuff like that. Now, if you want to talk about the Docs and Timonas, to me, I think they should come in together. Like, if we're talking about, if we're talking about like just they partner together, they build, they be part of one coalition, and then if you want to bring them in as well. But that's what I see as what it is, right? Those are the people that, their names is just always popping. You always know they got some new stuff in it. And to me, and there's no disrespect to anybody else I didn't mention, they're just relevant. They're consistently relevant in this space, right? So it's like, where do you go from there? And if you get everybody like that, and we can come together and say, hey, let's put together a network and let's do it. I mean, it is what it is, but there's a lot of logistics to that and things like that. But I agree with you, Blue. Like, I don't have to like HBCU game day or Steven or Tolly to not want to conduct business. Like, it ain't that serious for me. Like, y'all do what y'all do. I'm gonna continue to do what I do, but we can all come together and change the space together, right? Because you've seen it, and you're in it. You're with On 3, 247, Rivals. Like you're in the midst of it, and that's all they do. SI, you know what I'm saying? Like you've seen it in the close levels where I think didn't the guy from 247 left and started On 3, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep. Same guy.
So,
and he was involved in starting Rivals, who's another.
So when you're in the process, right? They've just created their own competitors. You start with Rivals, it goes to 247. 247 now becomes On 3, and they're all competitors, just pushing the space forward. So it's the same thing with us. There is no major HBCU network, because if you want to talk about HBCU Go and HBCU League Pass, they're live sports. They have no programming. So what the Power 5 programs have at their leisure, we do not. Right? You have me who covers it all. You have HBCU Game Day who covers it all. You have Blue who covers it all. You have these, but there is no dominant entity that just like, right? Because people who like HBCU Game Day, they probably don't like me. And people who like me probably don't like HBCU Game Day, but just because of the way we do things, right? But the variety of what you can get it is like a buffet. You know what I'm saying? I like crab legs. You might not like crab legs. Right? I don't like crawfish. You like crawfish. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. So I love the idea with Josh. I'm down with it, man. And I told Josh, whatever you need from me, man, let's make it happen, because it's possible. Period. It's possible.
So as I'm trying to keep it all together, going back to some things you said, I kind of operate off the same thing. Like you said, using Ply as an example, I've been loved and I've been hated since elementary. I'm good, and that's one thing that I see in you. And then, I'll text you out of the blue on the recruiting trail. I catch up with all your shows, and then it'll just be something that just almost makes me run off the road because it's just like, where did that come from? And, just absolutely hilarious. And then to hear you say you have that committee, that council, and I understand who Miss Key is, but there's got to be somebody else to talk you off the roof, because sometimes you just get up there on the roof, man, and it's Jimmy Superfly Snooker, here I come. And, or we'll go military, all guns are blazing. That's the one thing I really admire about you. And then before I speed out, as right here on the table, I was going to pay homage to you and Kofi RIP, because that was part of my 2 minute, but we flowing, so we're not at 2 minute right now. But I want to let you know the bill is here because of what you guys brought, and we're gonna be part of the 2 minute drill before we let you get out of here. But before I forgot, I was ready. I'm good. I always joke with Blue about being the only active coach in media, and I jokingly say that, but I have a good time with it. But, where you are, where B is, that was one of the things that I said to him in the beginning. I don't want to do anything to devalue your brand, because I've watched you. I know where you are. You're not just HBCU, you're all FCS, and you're good. And, he was like, oh, no, man, let's go. The more you go, the more comfortable you'll become or whatever. So, hats off to him. Hats off to you. You've come to the stadium. I wanted to jump on you after the game that you did come to. But we've always been good. I gotta say this, and then I'm gonna get back to my point. He won the game. That's the only reason I didn't come to you. That's the only reason I come knocking on your door. Because Aaron Allen outplayed him. But he won the game, so there's nothing else I can say. But okay, let me get back on track. We're gonna get
another show after this.
Yeah, I've been holding that for 2 years. I wanted to get you straight on that one. Stat line for stat line, Aaron Allen, it was not even close. But anyway, with the idea, like Joshua Sims Sr. said, I don't know if everybody can operate on that platform. Like, I can drink Twin P whiskey with you, right? Ice, neat, shot for shot. But then I can also go to the lounge and drink the wine. I don't know if everybody can do that. I don't know how we get to that. And that's in life in general, but we're not going to talk life. We're just going to talk this space right here. And that's the beauty of what Blues, invited me into. And like I told Joshua Sims Sr., I'm telling you as well, when it comes down to the FCS National Championship game, dog, you got to get out there. You got to see it. You got to see how they operate with it. As far as the whole FCS, they're not saying, hey, just us. They're saying, hey, man, how do we get everybody at 1AA FCS? How do we get everybody here? And I like their approach, but I don't know if we can do that even if when we're talking about SWAC and MEAC, because some people are just really, 10 toes down for what they talk about. And it might not even make sense, but they're still 10 toes down for what they're talking about. So, in the quick form, how do we bridge it? Because I've went to Hardy, and early on, Common Man, we signed with Hardy to try to get networking under you. Hey, we're not as interesting as him, but Common Man, this is what we're gonna do. We're giving you everything, all corn. We're giving you everything, whoever we're playing the following week or whatever. And it just kind of never took off, I guess, in their eyes as far as seeing the vision. Mm-hmm. But now that this thing it's maintained past Coach Prime, I think it's in a deal of where somebody's got to put it together. Okay. Just because.
I'm gonna go back to go forward, right? And hit me, keep that last point. I wanna hit the point that you said. Who else other than Key talks me off the ledge? It's Mr. Campbell. Listen, Mr. Campbell is
he got to step his game up, man. Because the last month,
listen,
you and Jimmy Snoopify Snooker, dog.
Let me tell you something. That's like the light like y'all don't understand how much people get saved by my wife and Mr. Campbell. Like, for real. Like, and I'm so serious. Like, you would not believe how many people get saved because Mr. Campbell be like, we don't need to do that. Don't do that, Scotty. Like, you can do this, but don't do that. And my wife be like, hey, it's not worth it, right? Mr. Campbell is like my dad. Like, that's how I look at Mr. Campbell. He's like a father to me, right? Like, so when he tells me, when he's like, hey, when Mr. Campbell gives me the green light, I know you done effed up. I know you done effed up because Mr. Campbell is all about business. He's all about business and branding and doing it the right way, right? So when Mr. Campbell says, yeah, go ahead, do that, Scotty, I know you in trouble. I know you done effed up because now I ain't got no bars. I ain't got no whole bar, right? But a lot of time is like my wife might say, hey, this is how my wife get me. She'd be like this. What is that going to do for you? And then she makes me answer that question, and I don't have an answer. It's just like an internal pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Like, when she asked me that question, she's like, okay, say you do that. What does that give you? What does that bring you? And I'd be like, I don't know. She'd be like, I don't know either. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those.
Break you all the way down.
Break me all the way down. Or is Mr. Campbell like, nah, son, like, let's not do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do it this way. Or, hey, let's let that go. Let's focus on this. You got bigger fish to fry. Let's go here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to get here. We not trying to stay there, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's those type of conversations that save a lot of people from me going, Jimmy Superfly Snicker Bar. I don't know who that person is or whatever you're talking about.
Jimmy's, listen, what was that show you just asked me? You know that, but you don't know who Jimmy Superfly Snooker is?
I know who RVD, and I know Rey Mysterio, and I know, Diamond Dallas Page. I know those are my guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
You know Dusty Rhodes?
Is that Rodney Piper? Like, didn't he
Dusty Rhodes?
Oh no, I just
the
know
American Dream.
Nah, I know Rodney Piper. Sorry, and Mr. Sacco, Mankind. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, since you brought that up, what about the sock would just make people pass out?
No, I don't know, but it was fire though, man.
It was too.
It be lit. When he'll pull it out of his pants. Then put the sock on. Oh man,
Match over.
And they be like, I loved it, man. Those are the good old days, man. I don't know no Jimmy Superfly Snicker Bar. I don't know who that Bama is. You know what I'm saying? So
the Road Warriors?
Those are the guys that had the shoulder pads, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
Blackjack Mulligan.
No. Anyway. No,
moving on from WWE.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like those my guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know Jimmy Stupefy Snicker Bar and all that.
British Bulldogs.
No, man.
It's a generational gap here, man. It's definitely a generational gap.
Let me tell you the guys. I'm Generation X. I'm NWO. I'm you know. I think I'm cute. They know I'm sexy. Hey, I got the look. Hey, hey, Shawn Michaels, boy. Come on, man. Love me some Shawn. Oh, think I'm cute. That was my guy. That was my guy. You know, Scotty. Scotty.
Oh, howdy.
Yeah, you know, they call me the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, listen, those are my guys. Those are my guys. You know what I'm saying? Rikishi, Mankind, Rock, Triple H. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I grew up on. The Attitude Era. You know what I'm saying? That was
Hogan.
Yeah. Who don't know Hulk Hogan?
Okay, I'm just saying Ric Flair because you got the song.
Undertaker. You know what I'm saying? Undertaker, Kane.
So Dusty Rhodes was like Ric Flair's biggest rival when Ric Flair was becoming the Nature Boy.
Yeah, I was never a big Nature Boy fan. Like, because let me tell you why.
What?
Listen. Because when I came in, Ric Flair was kind of getting up in age. He wasn't the young Ric Flair where, you know, he doesn't have a hard time holding these alligators. Like I didn't experience that Ric Flair. You know what I'm saying? Like he like
I spilled more liquor.
Wearing, diamond ring wearing. Kid stealing, woo! I didn't know that Ric Flair. I knew the old Ric Flair. Like all he did was scream, "Woo!" Woo! I'm like, why is he screaming "woo" all the time? You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know. I didn't grow up on that Razor Ramon. Yeah, Razor Ramon. Yeah, that was my guy. So you know
these people I'm talking about, right?
I mean, some of them I've never heard of. Like I know the legends you named, but like I'm younger than Scotty is.
But you don't know. Y'all have never heard of Jimmy Superfly Snuka?
No,
I knew that reference, but some of the other ones you named, I definitely didn't know. Because
if you don't know who the Junkyard Dog is, I promise you, it's on when I see you on site. The Junkyard Dog.
Whoa, like Paris said, Stone Cold, Owen Hart, like those guys I know.
Got it.
Kurt Angle, the straps, you know. Hey, the Dudley Boys, Debo, the table, like that's wrestling for me. Okay, that's wrestling. The Hardy.
I'm gonna give you one more reference because you didn't know the Junkyard Dog. I'm gonna give you one more reference, and if you don't get this, when I see you, it's on site.
It's gonna be like.
I'm gonna give you one. Are you ready?
Like blueberry snickerdoodle.
Yeah.
No. When I say this, you better know who I'm talking about. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
5 times world champion.
Booker T.
Okay, I can put the belt down.
I just said.
That was before that. That right there. That's that John Cena. You can't see me. You know, I'm just disappointed that you don't know.
Listen, I mean, you should have known it was bad when you said he was becoming the Nature Boy. Because when me and Scotty were growing up, he's been the Nature Boy for like 30 years by the time we started watching.
I mean, he hit the scene as the Nature Boy, but this is when he really took off. Like, you know, I've spilled more liquor.
I didn't experience that Nature Boy. I had the old school. I had the old Nature Boy come out with the no shirt, with the crazy long.
So y'all don't even know the Nature Boy that was a part of the Four Horsemen.
No, I don't even know what the Four Horsemen were.
For Coach, you got a lot of explaining to do with the Legacy Bowl next week.
No, like what are we doing? You always talk about some blueberry smoothie wrestlers. Like where did
this is unbelievable, man. This is unbelievable.
I ain't never heard of Snickerdoodle Smith. Like no, I ain't never heard of Snickerdoodle Smith. you never heard of Ring Razor? I'm like,
what, man? You know what? Zach, get your last ones in, man. We're gonna go to two.
Man.
We're gonna go
Bro,
to
my
2 minutes.
chest hurts.
We're gonna see if he can do his thing when it's
Jesus.
in the game when there's no timeout. But
Man, I'm sorry, man. I had to be on Scotty's side on that one, man. You're bringing up some crazy examples.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't never heard of Jimmy Doodle, Rick Snicker bar off the top rope? Like, what kind of names are these?
I am so and you too. I'm so disappointed.
Hey, now that's my guy, Macho Man Randy. Oh yeah, ooh, ooh, brother, yeah, ooh, I love Macho Man Randy.
You can't know those guys if you don't know the other guy.
Dog, Randy Savage was on every Slim Jim commercial growing up in the life.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
Him eat me. Like, come on, like that was everybody was watching it.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Dog, once again, who are these
Y'all
dudes?
don't know who Hacksaw Jim Duggan is?
Oh, come on, man. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are you doing?
The big boss man.
Nah.
Somebody in the chat, tell them who the big boss man is.
Dog,
Man, we got to start like dating like your WWE experiences by like WrestleManias, because like we got to like time this out. You're talking about like WrestleMania, like
y'all are familiar with the ladders and tables and chairs match, right?
TLC.
Yeah.
So are y'all familiar with the cage match?
Yeah.
The barbed wire match where they used to put barbed wire around the ring?
Yeah.
The bull rope. Y'all have never seen a bull rope match?
Not unless you explain it.
Nuts?
That's when they tie the rope with the bell to your arm and mine, and we just wrestle and duke it out until then. Y'all have never seen a bull rope match?
Nah.
Don't think so.
Scotty, the way you just did that little tone, like, nah.
You by yourself.
Oh, gave you the middle finger.
Yeah, it's like, nah. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I want to give you the middle finger right there. I'm so disappointed.
My dude was always stone cold. Jimmy
Cornette with the tennis racket?
Hey, bro, can we move on? Because
with a tennis racket?
Oh, this man said Jimmy Cornette. Well, what are we doing, bro? Can we move on?
Yeah, no, listen.
Bobby the Brain Heenan. Bobby the Brain Heenan?
No. Listen, if like ECW wasn't established, I don't know what you're talking about.
Go ahead, B. Go ahead, B, before we get into 2-minute warning.
Sting was dope. He would just be popping up on Bama's. Yeah, Sting was that guy.
Yeah, no, I mean that's crazy. I didn't think we get off on WWE on this one, man. That's hey, I'm sorry, Coach, but we let you down on that one. But man, I guess to pivot back now, like,
please back.
Let me sip my wine.
Way back. We can rewind this. What was your biggest learning experience coming into the HBCU media space?
Ooh, my biggest learning experience had to be, that's a good one. How to be more political. Right, like procedures. I've never been a procedure guy. Right, like when I started doing interviews, I was just hitting up the players directly. I wasn't going through no SIDs. Who are you? Right? I'm doing an interview. Then I'm getting emails later. Oh, you interviewed my player. You didn't go. So kind of learning procedures and going through the processes of doing things the right way. That is the biggest takeaway I've done, because you know, people look at interviews now and they're like, oh man, it's so easy. When I first started doing it, man, SIDs were denying me left and right. Okay. Like I was just hitting Bama's up in Instagram and Twitter. Like, hey, you want to come on? Like, I love that. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't care nothing about no SIDs. You know what I'm saying? So that's my biggest learning curve, is just going through the proper procedures. I still don't do it nowadays, but just I really don't. I don't
either. I feel you.
I really don't. But just going.
But it's tough because they don't. How do I put this to be politically correct? They don't tend to get back with you.
They don't.
In a timely manner. You know what I mean? And we had the idea for a show where we were going to highlight and spotlight the assistant coaches for upcoming games highlight of the week, you know, and then everybody turned paranoid and everybody's like, well, my SID got to let me, you know, what? This is you. We're trying to give assistant coaches a platform to put themselves out there. So when these jobs open, they know who Coach Fred is. They know who Blue is. They know who OFFSCRIPT is, not just the guy that they go to the program and see. And shout out to Mark Fredericks. He came on willingly, and the team they were playing that week was like, well, I got to get my AV, my SID. We don't want to give them a game plan. Well, we're not asking what you running on 3rd and 10. We're just asking you questions. You know, we're trying to talk to you. We're trying to give you an opportunity to talk. So in the business, it's either everybody's very paranoid or, you know what? I ain't getting back to Scotty, man. I ain't. No, Zach, I might hit him up. I don't know.
And see,
maybe next week.
And that's why I move the way I move. And Blue knows, like, a lot of stuff that, because Blue and Josh are really similar. They're super corporate, right? Like they have a standard of like journalists and all. They
button up. Yeah, they button up.
But sometimes, you know, you have. Blue told me one time about a situation that happened, and I blasted the SID for it. Absolutely, he said, "Hey, Scotty, man, this dude, say less. I got you. Say less, like, because
you went Kurt Angle on him
from the." Yeah. I went Jimmy Snickerdoodle Smith on him, like, from the top rope. From the top rope, you know what I'm saying? Like, because to me, I'm going to put you on blast because you want the title, you want the pay, but you don't want to do the job. And some of these SIDs act like they're freaking Nick Saban or something. Like, bro, nobody even knows who you are. Nobody's coming to see you or anything. You're making your job way bigger than what it is, my boy. And I will expose you for what it is. So don't play with me. And that's the thing that I prided myself on OFFSCRIPT is that people say, look, I don't want to make it on OFFSCRIPT screen. Like I hear that all the time, bro. Like, I don't want to be a picture. I remember the girl. Y'all remember Ty? I know y'all know that girl, Ty Floyd or whatever she does, like FAMU, like she's ESPN.
William Floyd's daughter. Yeah. Shout out.
Ty. Shout out to Ty, right? So she hit me up on Twitter one time and she asked me, she said, somebody told me that you were talking about me. And she said, I was so scared to watch the stream. But I was actually giving her a compliment because of the work that she does. She said, I was so scared to watch it. I didn't know but I pride myself on that because to me, it's like if you're caught, if I put you on my screen, it's either good or bad, and I don't know which way it's gonna go, right? So to me, I respect that, and I take it very seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because I will put you on blast, and I have no feelings I have no qualms about it. If I know that what you're doing is wrong and you need to be held accountable, oh yeah, I'm the accountability police.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, Scott, you can only imagine, man. Our first interview on this show, it was right after LSU won the national championship. You know, Brandon Vito was a huge LSU fan.
Yeah.
Bro, for his birthday, his girl reached out to one of the players on LSU to do an interview for the show for his birthday, right after the Natty. Dog, when I tell you we dropped that without asking the SID, nothing at the Power 5 level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Take it down.
We thought the FCS SIDs were pissed. No.
Take it down.
Man, you can't reach out. Like, dude, I remember we got shut down. James Madison was notorious, dude. I'm talking about, I got denied for like 7 interviews when James Madison was at the FCS level. Nothing. Could talk to no players for James Madison. It was crazy. So, I mean, and I'm kind of like you, Scott. Like, now, and half the time, once, like, I'm sure, Scotty, you can vouch for this. Once your platform reaches a certain size, the players watch anyway. And they'll reach out to you and be like, bro, why haven't you asked me to put me on the show?
Why can't I go?
Like, well, why don't you go talk to so-and-so in the office where he threatened to do this, and this if I have you on the show. Go talk to your SID.
Yeah.
It's just different. I think that goes back to the whole networking thing, man. I mean, if an HBCU network's in a launch, man, there's going to be a whole lot of nervous people in a lot of administrative roles in the communication department of some of these schools.
Yeah. And you know, the thing that I love when I had a discussion with Josh, because I told him straight up, I said, I'm not corporate. I said, I'm the furthest thing from corporate. He said, Scotty, I would never ask you to be corporate. He said, I want you to be our Pat McAfee. I said, I can do that. I can do that. That's actually who I when I first got into this space, I was like, I want to be Pat McAfee, right? Like, cause I just love his unapologetic style of how he did what he did, how he, you know what I'm saying, he just went about it. And I don't know if anybody saw when he first got the FanDuel sponsorship, he went and gave his guys like $50,000 in cash. Like, just he went to their doors.
Repeat that for my boy Blue again.
50.
When he got the FanDuel sponsorship, he went door, and I respected that, because that, to me, he's loyal to the guys that he came with and did it with, and ever since then I always respected Pat McAfee for that. So to me, it's like, you know, when Josh told me straight up, like, I'm going to ask you to change, I'm not going to ask you to do something, I'm like, okay, cool, as long as we understand each other, I'm Gucci with it, you know what I'm saying? So it's things like that for me that make it dope and make it a possibility. And going back to what you said, Coach, about, you know, you can't really see it. I can see it right now. The thing is can you make the Alcorn show entertaining enough to make it to where people want to watch, but fans of Alcorn are going to watch, right? Like, it's one of those situations where, like, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, right? Like, there's days I don't want to watch the football game because I know we're going to lose, but I'm like, I'm a fan. So I'm gonna watch it, right? I'm going to watch this ass whooping we about to take. And it's the same thing with Alcorn fans. Alcorn fans will watch an Alcorn show. If it's not entertaining, they probably just won't recommend it. They'll be like, hey, man, listen, I'll watch this Alcorn show. It's
okay.
Gonna
tell you about it.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's not everybody's cup of tea. You know, it's really for us Alcorn people. You know what I'm saying? So, like, let's keep it a buck. It's no disrespect. Ken Clark without Zoe is not a good show. Ken Clark without, and I know Blue, I know y'all Bama's gonna stay neutral, so I'm fine with that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I'm saying, I'm just telling you from my perspective is Ken Clark without Zoe on the panel is not a good show, right? So he does what he has to do to make it entertaining for the people that are watching, and that's understanding your customer base, right? So it just is what it is. So it's like, how can I make this more entertaining? What can I do now that you have a head coach like Cedric, who's real open, and I be doing interviews with Cedric all the time. Like, hey, coach, you know,
we started today. It's funny you said that. We started today. Ain't no doubt. No doubt. We started today. He's
that kind of coach that he'll tell you what he was thinking on 4th and 3, and the play didn't go the way that he saw it to go. He's that type of coach, right? So it's like that's going to draw interest to Alcorn people, because they're gonna be like, why did you choose that? Or why he went all cover 0 and it worked. Hey, I saw this. They did it all the time. I said, hey, let's go cover 0 right here. We knew we had a good matchup with our DB and their wide receiver. True football fans love that interaction, right? So it's that, right? So I think you have something with Coach Cedric and what you guys can do, because he sees what you're doing in the space, and now he can kind of slide into the space in their own way, in a comfortable place with you, understanding how media is. So, you know, it's the sky's the limit with y'all and what y'all got going coming in the future. And if y'all get back to your old winning ways of like dominating the West,
back too.
Yeah, y'all didn't.
We had a share first.
Oh, okay.
We tripped up early, but we had a share first, which brings me to my belt prop for you and Kofi.
Was that before or after Texas Southern? I kind of slipped.
Who's talking about that?
Man, was that before or after?
Bro, that's the best part about having Coach on the show, dude, because, like, you know, he'll be honest on the show about what happened. But he got on here after that game and was like, and it's cool, man. We watched the films and they were playing like Texas Southern, and then we get to the game and he was like, they're playing like the 68 Jets out here. And
dude, they did. I mean, it's dude. Hey, strip all year. The week before, they up 75-0 on SU on Southern.
Yeah,
and then 3rd and 4th quarter, they decide, you know what? Let's see how many times we can turn this thing over. Southern comes back from 75 points down and win the game. prior to. They're playing freaking Jackson. You know what? We just want to show y'all for 2 quarters, man, that we can play football. This second half, you know what we finna do? We finna make a Follies tape. I'm talking about it's stuff, and y'all played, you know, it's stuff you're looking at on tape, and you're rewinding like, man, this kid point shape. Ain't no way he did that right there. Multiple times, right? And then we roll into town on that Sunday, and it's what that shirt say?
I thought I had my Texas Southern shirt on. I thought because I had it on earlier today. I was about to, but you know.
But we roll into town on that Sunday. We roll into town, and all of a sudden, Joe Namath is over there. We got Mean Joe Green. I mean, we got Jimmy Johnson calling plays. And no disrespect to any of them.
Curtis Martin in the backfield.
What? They ain't came close to a turnover. They ain't came close to a folly. And you're sitting there and you're just like, man, ain't no way. But we always say that we're going to get everybody's shot, best shot, with everybody's Super Bowl. And that Sunday, we were in that freaking Super Bowl. Because what happened the week after? You don't remember? I'll tell you. They're up 85-0 versus UAPB. And they lose the game 86-85.
Dang.
I forgot they lost UAPB after that, too. I did.
But if you were at halftime, they were up like 28-0. And they lost the game 35-28. But they played like the 68 Jets versus us.
I felt so bad for y'all, man, because I saw you on TV because I was watching the games. It was a Sunday, and dude, that you see Ladarius break a run, and then it starts to rain, and I'm like, man, they're out there soaking wet, just mad as hell. Just
bro, they got, and I mean this with no disrespect, totally no disrespect, bro. They got 35 people over there. We got 2,500 back there.
They all sad.
Oh my goodness,
bro.
Got the long face, boy. They got.
Oh my goodness, it was one of them deals where it's like, you know what? Hey coach, what his name called him to the bench. He want to talk about the last play. I don't even want to turn around and go back that way because the people probably gonna be yelling and screaming some ugly things at me, man. But you know, tell them to come up here, let's talk. And yet we see a double reverse pass, flea flicker, all in one play that they execute to perfection. Like, oh man, like, all right, we weren't supposed to win this game. Okay, cool.
He said they out here playing horse off the backboard,
ain't no doubt.
Nothing but net.
Hey, we need to get our running back. He needs 85 yards to get the record. Hey, let's do this. Let's go fumble Rooski. He gets 90 yards. He gets 90 yards. Like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Ain't no way this has happened.
Yeah,
that kind of deal.
And then PV did the same thing. They need them to lose. They get beat by Houston Christian by 70, and they go beat Alabama State, who was on an 8-game winning streak.
8-game running. They can't be stopped. You know what? They giving up 5 yards a game rushing. That's what PV does. Oh, we got a shot. PV goes out there and runs for 800 yards, and we sitting there looking like, what happened to Alabama State? Are you serious? All of a sudden, they decide they can't play run defense. Like, you know. But anyway, it's crazy. But man, we done been on here for a minute, man, and we still got 2-minute warning.
And let's knock it out.
Go ahead, Coach.
All right, man. This is 2-minute warning. This is where we see if OffScript can do his thing in the game with no timeouts. You ready to rock?
Come on, man. It's me.
All right. Hey, this is the lounge, man. So, you know, I don't have to worry about you. My boy Sim Sr. was political. You know, he's all buttoned up. I don't expect you to be buttoned up now. I expect you to be you.
Come on now. What are we talking about?
All right, here we go. B, you got the clock?
Got it.
All right, let me get my list. All right, here we go. Referee blows it, winds it up. All right, Script. If you couldn't go Army, do you go Air Force or Navy?
Air Force.
Air Force or Marines?
Air Force.
Claflin, you're there. Do you go Claflin to Morehouse, Claflin to Clark?
Clark.
Do you go from Atlanta to B-More or Atlanta to the DMV?
DMV. Come on, man. Ain't no Baltimore. We ain't doing that.
We go Texas, Florida.
Texas all day. Can't do the
Almost
Hurricanes.
broke character right there. But anyway.
Can't do the Hurricanes. Mm-mm.
Now, we're going off script, 1400.
Off script. Is that even a question? Why is that even a question?
1400 host. Who do you bring to off script?
Zoe.
Simona, Yard Talk.
Timona and who?
Yard talk.
To do what? What are we doing?
To bring the off script.
Timona.
Okay. You threw me off with that one. I wasn't expecting that one. Jackson State, FAMU.
FAMU. Come on, man. It's not even a question.
You got to become a student at either Texas Southern, PV.
Texas Southern. You know I ain't going to no 12 fan Prairie View. Stop playing me.
If you had to address one fan base, which fan base would it be? Jackson State?
Okay.
Alabama State.
Address. What do you mean address? Like, what are we talking about? Address?
Stand in front of
Alabama State. Alabama State.
From Alabama State, are we going A&M or are we going Tuskegee?
Tuskegee.
We're going to double back. You got to join one fan base in the SWAC for life. Who is it? And answer wisely.
FAMU.
Yeah.
FAMU.
Why?
They love their football. They take football very seriously.
And if you could interview one person in the SWAC, who would it be?
Coach Tamika Reed. Love her. Absolutely love her.
Where we at, B?
3 minutes. They've definitely not into 2.
Yeah, he was trying to be political.
I had to.
A little disappointed.
I had to
get
a
little disappointed.
I had to get the understanding. I don't want to answer the question without understanding. You like address. I'm like, address it to do what? Because like Jackson State and Alabama State, what are we addressing? Because if I'm addressing how ass Jackson State is, I'm not about to stand in front of their whole fan base. I ain't gonna make it out the parking lot. I'm gonna be shot when I open my mouth like John F. Kennedy riding up to the vet. I'm gonna be scowled. Like, come on, man. It's Pothole State. What you mean?
Hey, we're just playing, man. We're just having a good time with it. And I got one last question for you, and then I'll turn it to Blue, and then we can get you out of here. But I need your opinion. So we're talking sports, we're talking athletics, and one time on our show, I addressed our rivals as we address them, the people up the street, right? And someone was in the comments, and same place.
Okay.
In the comments were really, really upset, and I kind of draw back from what you said. The only way they heard that is because they were watching. So with that being said, why do you feel like, and I feel like this may take us another 30 minutes. I'm cool with it.
Oh, I ain't got nothing to do.
My bottle's cool with it.
My wife in the chat, so we good. You know what I'm saying?
I'm cool with it, and I still got wine left. So I'm a no. And when Florida State beats Florida, that gives you 365 days to talk about it as much as you want to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is it such a touchy deal? And this was part of my belt deal. We put belt to Grambling. We put belt to Southern. We really put belt to Southern. We put belt to the folks up the street. And anytime we bring up the fact that we beat and put belt to the folks up the street, they get mad, and that was last year. But we hadn't got to the next year. So why can't we still talk about it? So in your honest opinion, why is it so touchy about that?
Ohio State fans are just emotional. They just live in emotion. Like they're the only child, right, that doesn't know how to share. Like they're the type of kid, they're the brat. Like you take them to a friend's house and they're playing with a toy, and then they see another kid playing with the toy, and then they go over there and be like, "That was my toy." You're like, "Bro, you weren't even playing with this, but it's mine." Right? Like they're just annoying. They're brats, bro. Like I don't get it. And the thing about it is this: what they dish out, they cannot take. They can't take it. Like when they was beating everybody and Dion was beating everybody's head in, they out here looking like, "Oh, we the bad boys on the block." Da 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 da. They lose the Celebration Bowl. They're like, "But we beat all y'all." But you lost the Celebration Bowl. Like, what are we talking about? You're losers.
Yeah, we were Slawcorn. We were country. But the minute we start referring to the folks up the street, it's an issue. Blue's Auburn. They can't stand Alabama. But right now, Blue can't say anything because Alabama's beating them for how many ever years straight, right?
Facts.
So you have to
bragging
take
about basketball now.
What about that court? What's going on in that court?
Flip the switch. But, when we're talking about the differences, and it's all in fun, I get it, no doubt. But and this is all tied back into what Sim Senior and you were talking about. Would that allow us to do it? Because I personally love Paul Firebaum, but I know people call into his show just to give him hell because they feel like he's this, and this. But they still tune into his show.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Paul Firebaum is the SEC, no doubt about it, right?
Yeah.
How do we plug that? And like I said, it kind of all goes full circle, and we probably should have did this an hour ago. But how does it go? How do we pull that, whether it be on Bluebloods, whether it be on Scotty, whether it be on HBCU Plus? How do we put that kind of show in play? Because at the end of the day, I remember the old coach's show, man, when the guy comes out there, the old coach, he's smoking cigarettes, the guy's interviewing him, he's got people calling in, and it's just straight about the love of the game and about the love of the team.
Okay, so it's a lot, but I'm gonna try to narrow it down. One, you have to have people are gonna gravitate toward it because one, if you're good, they're gonna gravitate, and two, it's a need. The reason I started Off Script, and I'll go back to the reason I started the way I did with the live show, with the call-in, is because when I would watch the Dallas Cowboy YouTubers, I would want to call in. I would want to give my piece. I would want to give my 2 cents. And
y'all are the worst,
dog.
By the way, y'all are the worst. By the way,
so
but that's a whole nother show. But y'all are the worst, by the way.
But I know how much it feels to be a fan, right? Like I don't get the same gumption with HBCU because I don't have a team. Like I'm like, oh, that's my team. Like I got a player, which I didn't root for. Like Andrew, like I root for Andrew, but now I'm kind of in a conundrum because you see the Rocket Mortgage orders back there, right? So it is what it is. So it's one of those kind of conundrums. But if you're good, people are going to tune in, and two, people want to talk about their teams. People want to either brag or people want to talk smack. That just is what it is. And the thing that I love is I love unadulterated smack talk. Like I love somebody calling and be like, man, that MFer don't know what he doing. God, I'm sick of this coach calling this damn cover zero. I love stuff like that because that's just true emotion. Like that's how you feel. And we all have been there watching our team do some dumb stuff, right? You just want to have it's hard when your girl's sitting beside you and you over here, babe, I can't believe he gonna go quarters in the third quarter. She gonna be like, yeah. What? Yeah, that's right, babe. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I be texting Blue. I'm like, man, you see this stupid stuff? Blue be like, man, like this guy. Because you need that interaction. You want that validation of what you're seeing to like, am I crazy? Because I'm seeing this, right? So when you get a group of people together in a space that they're able to do that, it's going to work as long as you're good at what you do. So you can't tell me that if there was a national radio station or XM radio or whatever possible that people could tune into to just talk about SWAC football and they had some promotion, that people wouldn't be all for it, because people like to talk they smack. They just do. And if I can call in and tell you how I feel about you or how I feel about your team, I'm gonna do that.
Hey, and again, a shout out to his body. She's a great sport. I think y'all are in cahoots together, but she has blood reasons to be the way she is. But anyway, shout out to her. She's tuning in and she just hit me up. But my thing is, so how do I put it? So my thought was, and I'm trying to get in touch with Mr. Grant. I got it on paper to say that it was my idea in the beginning, and I talked to Blue about it. We want to be on the Power 5 level when we talk about things, but we have to start to try to operate as close as we can to it. I get it. I'm in it day by day, 365. Hell, I pay tuition at Alcorn, so I understand that the money's never going to be the same. But if we're trying to move that way, let's move that way.
Yeah,
I'm trying to reach him now when we're talking about the playoffs at that level. Why don't we go a 4-team deal and make it work, especially now with this extra game? You can make it work to where you take the top 2 teams, the winner of the SWAC, the loser of the SWAC. The MEAC's got to figure out which team's going to get the ring and which 2 teams are going to get the opportunity to move on to the playoffs. And it's a home and home deal. Winners stay home, losers hit the road. And then the 2 winners meet in Atlanta. To me, I think that generates that type of buzz. So now we're talking about going on off script, and we're saying a Wednesday starting at 10 o'clock a.m. from 10 to 10:30 is the Alcorn 30 minutes. From 10:31 to 11:01 is the Rocket Mortgage hour, 30 minutes. And you do every team going through on that Wednesday, kind of like the SWAC call, but this is not the SWAC call. We're actually sitting here and we're letting, and I cringe when I say this because I don't know if he's going to be Jimmy. No, you don't know who Snooker is, whoever you called him. But we don't know if that's going to be the off script we get, or if we get the one that's going to be, in there. But anyway, this is Wednesday. This is SWAC Wednesday. And we've got everybody on here. You can call in between these times if you want to talk to your team. I just think that would be hot. But to get people to buy in to do it, that's the part where I'm kind of like, how do we do it?
I'll tell you this, and listen, I don't care what nobody says. Nobody has been pushing off a playoff longer than I have. Blue.
Yeah.
Blue.
Man, where's my notebook?
I'm about to say, no,
I
bro,
beg
Coach,
to differ.
Coach, I mean, he pitched it, what when's the last round?
2020.
Yeah.
Like 2020.
Yeah.
Remember, we had the whole playoff thing with the FCS, and they was like, I said, then why don't you turn the Celebration Bowl into a playoff? I said that in 2022 when I
the only difference might have been the only difference is, Scotty, I want to say your first one included the D2s. I don't remember if it
it
like so
you D2s,
so you would have the SWAC, MEAC champ, SIAC, and CIAA.
That's what I said. And then when everybody was like, you can't mix D2 with D1, I said, well, then just make it all a D1 playoff. But I've been on that for about 2 years. Hey, listen, Josh, if you're watching, you didn't do it first. No, it was me. I was on the end of 2021.
No.
Coach said back in 2016, I was sitting on the reservation.
Yeah. 2018 when we walked out of that goddamn Mercedes-Benz Dome. I was like, man, this should be a playoff. But and my guy Rodney, Pretty Tony, however you want to, he can attest to this. The HBCU combine, that was my baby. Flew out, talked to Prime. Hey man, this is what it is. And that was when he was heavy with Under Armour. And then, we get the COVID, but then we get it jumped off after that. It just takes somebody to have a vision that, hey, boom, let's drum it up. Let's go. Because it'll sell itself.
This is the problem that you have, Coach, and Blue can attest to it, is you don't have anybody getting out the information that you need to talk about these. Everybody wants to hide their rosters like they didn't got like a super secret squirrel player that's gonna put the SWAC on notice. Like that's how the SWAC is about information. And the MEAC is just as bad. Like they're just horrible at getting information out. Me and Blue talked right before you came on. He was like, man, my guys are so plugged in on 3. He was like, our recruit was supposed to come to Alabama. And they was like, nah, he got a fever. How did they know that? Because they're plugged in. And then, but the SWAC schools, they treat everything like it's Fort Knox. Like, bro, there's not one player on your team that needs to be treated like Fort Knox. I'm sorry. The information, whatever you're doing is you're not doing anything special. They'd be like, oh, try to hide this player. No, it's all gonna come out in the wash anyway. If Power 5 players aren't being hidden, why are FCS players being hidden? That stuff kills me. No injury reports, no injury updates, no questionables, or like I talked to Emory Hunt, and he's like, man, I was trying to do an FCS game. I didn't even know the players were injured until the day of the game. They handed me, hey, he won't be playing. He's like, my whole stuff was based off of the player playing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's those type of problems in the SWAC spaces that the SIDs do not want to do their job. Except my boy Josh, shout out to Josh, right? But a lot of SIDs don't want to do their job. And they don't want to do none of the extra work to get the information out. And there's not enough insiders at that school to disseminate information to be like, it's hard to do an hour show on specific schools if you don't have intel inside of said school, right? That's why Kid and Zoe can do what they do. They're at every practice. They see everything. But I can't talk about Bethune-Cookman for an hour because don't nobody give a damn. Ain't nobody sitting in Bethune-Cookman swamp and watching them practice. Ain't nobody doing that. Right? You get what I'm saying? It's those. Ain't nobody at UAPB watching a practice.
Well, that's when I said like the 30-minute window is with the coaches. So,
Yep.
I'll tip it. We got something coming. It's going to be more old school. I mean, it's going to be smoke filled and a cigar bar, and it's going to be an assistant coaches show. We're going to have Coach Thomas on it and the whole nine, where we're actually talking about it as much as we can talk about it, so to speak. My biggest pet peeve about being in the business is that everybody just at some point turns paranoid. I mean, paranoid. Like, man, I walked in the hallway and everybody stopped talking. What are you talking about? That kind of paranoia creeps into the business. It doesn't matter if I know and I just use it because his mom's in here and you love him. It doesn't matter if Andrew's not playing. Now, we've got a different game plan, so to speak, but we still got to play the game.
Still got to play it.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
The biggest thing
Alabama State, you still had to prepare for 2 quarterbacks. Even though they may have just went with one the whole game, you still had to prepare for both. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, when we're talking about the show, and I hope Sim Senior hears this, we've just got to all come together on a call. We got to get my boy B in there, because when we went out to Frisco to the FCS National Championship, man, those guys had it all together. From this fan base to that fan base. And then it just all came together as far as how it clicked. You know what I mean? The Jackrabbits were the Jackrabbits. They had their deal put together. They had it publicized. We didn't get an invite from the Grizz, but the Grizz was there in Groves. We've got to merge that, if that makes sense.
No,
Uh,
it
and
does.
somebody's got to have, I don't want to say capital, rather that be you or Blue, but somebody's got to have that to where even if it's done on YouTube, I just think that's something that's needed, and I think that's something that would take off.
Blue, I'm gonna let you go. I know you've been wanting to say something. I'm gonna go after you. Go ahead, B.
Yeah, no, I think with the 30-minute thing with like the coaches, bro, you got to get the right people in those rooms and on that panel because I, Coach, I know you probably watch it sometimes. The coaches call for some of these conferences, and it's not just a SWAC, is
That's horrible.
insane. I mean, you get 2 questions, maybe, depending on how long it takes to answer the first one. Dude, I don't care how the coach feels about like wasting time. Like, coach, what you gonna eat at the tailgate? Nobody cares. Are you really putting that into a story? Are you gonna do a story about what E-Rob's gonna eat at the Magic City Classic tailgate? Has he even got time to go to that? Like, is he gonna be at the
No.
tailgate? And instead of asking about, because for me, the way I try to structure it is my first question is about the previous game, whatever my first thought is on that game, and then the second question is going to be a follow-up about the next game. That's how it should be structured. But man, when you got people asking about random stuff about what you're going to eat at the tailgate, how do you feel about that coach? And like did the handshake went wrong or something? Like, bro, no one. Why are we wasting time on stuff like that that you're not going to write about in the story, or at least I hope not, because who's reading that? And 2, you're doing a disservice to all the people watching and all the people actually tuned in wanting to know stuff. And I think, Scotty, I do agree that obviously this is across the whole FCS. SIDs and coaches aren't open enough about injury reports and stuff like that. But also, as media, we kind of allow them to be because no one takes the initiative to ask about it because we're wasting time on pointless shit.
Yeah, that's real.
Before you go, Scotty, so a friend that's listening said maybe I phrased that wrong. So I think I did. So it may not be able to be all on Wednesday. Maybe you have 2 days where it's the East and it's the West coaches.
That's cool.
To where it's just said Thomas's 30-minute block, whatever. You talk about whatever, you answer from the chat. When it's up, it's a hard 30-minute out. Boom, he's gone. Next coach in the West is up. So it's not like a panel to where nobody's asking the guy from Valley anything. He has his own section.
Yeah.
And shout out to my people for making sure that I communicated that correctly. So that's what I'm saying when I say that, V.
Let me say this with combining, and if I'm hearing it right, I think you're saying combining all of FCS into a show or a network or something like that. Am I hearing?
No. Saying how they do it, how they you have that.
So when we went to Frisco, we made an appearance on one of the Jackrabbit shows. So every year, the FCS National Championship, they have designated bars or spots for each fan base throughout the week. So they'll have like live shows and like the best podcasters and stuff like that at a certain event at a certain time. And like everyone in the city kind of like promotes that.
Well, I think that's dope. I mean, if you could do that in Atlanta, I mean, I think for the Celebration Bowl, that'd be absolutely amazing. But we too busy having after parties and stuff like that, which is, that's just what we do. Day parties, after parties, all that type of stuff. Listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. And Blue, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Like, I don't see the same interest in FCS podcasting that I see in HBCU podcasting. Am I missing that, Blue? If I'm off, please let me know if I'm off.
It's just certain fan bases, but like the majority of FCS, no,
right? So listen, I think is the boy Sam Herder. Is that your boy, like from ESPN? Yeah. He got an ESPN All-In show, FCS All-In show. Ain't nobody watching that. Ain't nobody watching it. And that's no shot to Sam. It's FCS is just like Blue said. It's a few fan bases that are radical. North Dakota State, North Dakota, Montana. Montana State, like there's just a few bases that are just radical. The rest of them is like, hey man, we just here, right? So to me, yes, are there things you can take from different, fan bases or things that you saw at Frisco, add it to the Celebration Bowl, add it to the SWAC championship, right? Add it to those things to make it more festive and more engaging. Absolutely. There's a lot of things you can do with the partnership between the SWAC and HBCU Game Day. Nobody holds them accountable. Nobody holds the SWAC and the HBCU Game Day partnership in account because they get all the stuff and they do absolutely nothing with it.
I've reached out to Game Day, and they haven't reached back for whatever reason.
They won't.
But I have, and it's one of those deals of where I think that if you were at, and I'm just using us because I work there, if you were at homecoming with Grambling last year, I think that's something that everyone across conference would have been like, oh, okay, cool. They country, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. And that's from the parking lot to the game to after the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So my whole thing is, Scotty, is how do we, and maybe I call Hardy tomorrow, like, dude, this is what it is. This is how we move it. Because it's an easy sell.
It's an easy sell, but the people selling got to buy it. I mean, the people you selling to got to buy it. It's not the fans. It's you know what you got to sell? You got to sell the coaches. You got to sell the SIDs, and you got to sell the SWAC office, right? The only way the SWAC office is going to circumvent the system is if you go and you skip over them and go to HBCU Go, right? Like if HBCU Go picked up all the programming and said, hey, well, the SWAC already sold their rights, so they can't stop anything that the HBCU Go wants to do. So there's nothing the commissioner could say if HBCU Go came to Scotty and said, hey, Scotty, man, we love what you do. We want to make you the Paul Feinbaum of HBCU. The SWAC couldn't stop it. You already sold your rights. Ain't nothing you can do. Now I'm out here covering the games and whoop-de-doo, right? So it's that. But when you listen, Blue and Coach, I apologize because this isn't the platform for this. But
it's the lounge. It is. Most definitely it is.
I just have a problem where you give people the opportunity and they sit on it and they don't do anything with it. HBCU Game Day has a direct inside to the SWAC, and they are the worst at doing anything with it. They literally could have every coach on their platform because they're good old boy system, right? Everybody loves HBCU Game Day. What do you fucking do, right? So, but when you limit yourself to we're gonna be a mouthpiece for Jackson State and Neely. We don't care about all other 11 schools. We don't care about. And then Neely leaves, and then you jump on FAMU because now they're the second biggest brand, and now you're like, Vaughn, we need you, man. I mean, can you give us some FAMU stuff? What about Southern? What about Alcorn? What about Jackson again? What about Bethune? What about you? Like, you don't talk to any other coach? Any other player? I ain't never listen, they do that little weak-ass interview for like 5 minutes with a player, but if I'm being honest, they're horrible at covering the SWAC because from what I was told, HBCU Game Day was never for the SWAC. It was for the CIAA and the SIAC. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm sorry, but I just had to get that off.
No, this is lounge. This is what it's about. And I know we're going long, so Blue's going to have to cut this up, probably make it 2 this is what it was for. So when we're talking about the pieces and how you put it together, man. I might get called into the office. I don't know, but there's got to be a centerpiece. There's got to be somebody that says, "Hey, this is what it is." Let's, as Coach Thomas always said, "Hey, we finna link up like Voltron." Y'all know who Voltron is, right?
Yes. You know who Voltron is. God, dog.
I got to check with y'all from now on about references because y'all don't even know who Dusty Rose, the American Dream is. But anyway,
Captain Planet. You know, everybody loves Captain Planet.
Who?
Oh, we gotta go. You don't know who Captain Planet is?
I mean, he wasn't big as He-Man.
Man, what are we doing?
And
bro?
no one is half the battle.
Go ahead, Blue. Wrap this up, man, because this dude, he gonna talk about some snickerdoodles. He talking about snickerdoodles. He talking about He-Man.
And no one is half the battle.
It is, bro. What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
Y'all know who Mr. Rogers is? I have to check y'all, man.
It's
Y'all know who
crazy.
Mr. Rogers is, right?
Oh, nobody talking about horses, man.
Huh?
What
does Mr. Rogers have to do with horses?
Isn't that the dude who was talking to horses? Oh, that's Mr. Ed. I'm sorry.
That's Mr. A.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Rogers, Mr. Ed. They all the same.
Oh man.
We're about to get off the rails. You're right. It's about time.
Yeah. But man, Scotty, man, I appreciate you so much, man. Listen, I mean,
Hey,
2.5 hours.
I don't know, B.
Go ahead.
Somebody said in the deal, like, we don't want anybody from the MEAC. I think Josh is from the MEAC. We definitely want people from the MEAC. We definitely want people from all walks. The lounge is not a coach specific show platform, but we've had Coach Leone. That's my guy. Whoever y'all say y'all want to get, man, we'll try and get them. Next week, we have people that are not associated with any conference for the call next week, So it's not just a swag deal. In the lounge, we're going to smoke cigars. We're going to drink wine. We're going to drink whiskey.
You keep saying you. We keep saying we, but it's really just you.
Yeah, I saw you shake your little water up. I don't know if Miss OffScript is in here, maybe next time you'll allow him. It still got the cap on it. Don't show that like you doing something.
Mr. Campbell put in the chat that Scotty's got to get his Sprite ready.
Yeah, I had one. It's on the floor, but I didn't want to walk around and grab it and
So whose glass was that? Because the cap is still on the bottle you just showed.
This was from my Quiet Storm mix when I was doing my Quiet Storm music.
Was that 2 days ago? Was that 2 days ago? Because you still had the cap on that bottle. Yes. I'm a wine connoisseur. That bottle hadn't been open.
It has been open. I opened it on my Quiet Storm.
Put it back in the camera. I can't see it. Scotty, hold it down. Hold it down. I don't know if that's the same one. Oh, she said, okay, thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Me and you are good now. Me and her were like this because she said something about sugar and grits. But now me and her like this now. We good.
Go ahead, Blue. Go ahead, wrap it up, Blue, because your man bugging. Your man bugging.
But man, Scotty, I appreciate
what's up,
man. I appreciate you, man. 2.5 hours of your time, man. Definitely appreciate it. I'm sure everyone knows where to find you, man. But as always, man, let people know where they can find you and what you got coming next.
Man, you can find me on 25th and Franklin. I'll be on there selling that good weed. No, you can find me.
You got me. I would say 25th and Franklin. What show is that?
You can find me on OffScript. You already know what it is, man. It's the off season, so I've been taking a little easy and stuff like that. But you can always find me on OffScript. Catch me on Twitter, Instagram, OffScript TV. Yeah, man. We just gonna keep growing, keep getting bigger and better, man. I appreciate y'all for having me on, man. I'm blessed that you guys invited me on and did a deep dive into my life. That's Scotty.
Man, Key corrected you, Coach. She said salt and grits, not sugar.
Oh, I'm good with that. But we had a disagreement at the game. She said something about, was it fish and spaghetti, Miss Key, that we had a disagreement on?
She's from Midwest. Yeah, so it probably was fish and spaghetti. She said
there. Yeah, don't go. They don't go to.
What was the Montana dude? Who, Coach? You remember we were talking about Alcorn's tailgate. What was it like? Oh my God! It was some crazy combination. Scotty, I'm telling you, dude, it made me want to throw up on screen.
It's spaghetti and cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, or something like that. It was like cinnamon rolls and something wild. It
was like spaghetti and cinnamon rolls. Like, dude, why are we even? First of all, why are we even in the same establishment? If that's what you live by, you go buy fish and spaghetti and cinnamon rolls. I know I'm in the wrong place.
Who's bringing cinnamon rolls to a tailgate, bro? Like, that's
first of all,
they got cinnamon rolls with a barbecue. Like, what are they doing here? there.
Bro, if you think I'm coming to your tailgate in Montana when it's already -7 and I'm gonna eat some cinnamon rolls
with some damn cinnamon rolls.
That's crazy talk.
What?
Crazy.
Somebody gave you some wrong information about me.
Yeah.
Dog.
Like, hey man, where the hot cocoa at? Like that's what
Exactly.
you at the who?
Where's the
There's no-
moonshine, man?
There's no tailgate, man, when it's that cold. But guys, man,
That's
we
fun.
appreciate Scotty, man. As always, it's myself, my guy, Coach Fred. The Coaches Lounge will be back next week. We'll announce our special guest next week on Twitter, man. Listen, it's a huge special guest we got coming for episode 3 of the Coaches Lounge. Man, but for myself, my guy, Coach Fred, and my guy, Scotty, we out for right now.
Scotty.